Hey guys, what's going on? So you just saw a picture of this U.S. Capitol cop named Byrd, and I just read about this story a couple days ago, and I wanted to cover it for you so you can kind of see what's going on. I mean, basically the story is Republicans think he's a killer. Democrats love him because he shot a pro MAGA Trump supporter at the Capitol. And that's sort of the narrative that we hear. So CNN and PMSNBC and all the far left news stations love the guy. And well, I don't know of any right wing news stations, but Fox, which is controlled by the same guy who runs the New York Times, right, sort of doesn't like the guy too much, right? Or at least they present controlled opposition, Fox News, right? Give me a bunch of ones if you agree that Fox is controlled opposition. So I thought I would cover the story. Hey, Kyle, what's going on? And I appreciate all the kind remarks. James Forbes says, "Hurry up, Mike. I need to learn." Oh, that's cool. Thanks, Ghost Man. I appreciate all the kind comments. So, everybody, I am attorney Michael Ehline. I am an attorney licensed in California and Texas, and I primarily do catastrophic injury cases like car accidents and motorcycle accidents. But when one of our friends got locked up, one of our friends in the cop watcher community got locked up, I sort of was propelled into a situation where people keep asking me to come back on. But sometimes I get a little bored with just doing cop watch videos. So I try to expand my education into corrupt judges, corrupt administrative officials, corrupt city councilmen, corrupt public school teachers trying to brainwash your kids. I support parallel systems like homeschooling and homesteading, and I encourage everyone to store their own water, grow their own food, get off of the atrazine chemical infused diet that the CDC and the FTC has foisted upon the American people, and go back to like the Amish way of living, basically, where you have good quality food. Many of you know that I'm very upset that the average male has about 30 to 40% less testosterone in his body than his grandfather did, and clearly that's a result of the diet. Now we've just learned that fluoride is what I always knew is a toxic poison, and it shouldn't be in our municipal water supply. And it also lowers your IQ, according to many experts. So this is the kind of stuff that I like to talk about because I think that it's all interconnected. I think that there is an administrative industrial complex that wants people to be as stupid as possible because they're easier to govern when they're dumb. And when people understand critical thinking and they understand the for-profit media system and what they're being brainwashed and fed is wrong, only then will we be able to make positive change in this country, including the policing system. So that's sort of the way things go. Let me kick off my show really quick, and we'll get into this Officer Byrd and the whole story about why people even stormed the Capitol, what the reason was for it, and we'll get into this officer and everything else.
To another edition of Ask Michael Ehline. This is where I teach people the law in an unorthodox manner by using examples that we see in the news, case law briefs, but it's all about exposing the Leviathan and its instrumentalities and taking back your rights. Know the law and mean to keep it well. Come here to learn from an expert to know your right. Make sure to like and subscribe. Make sure to save, because we never know when the thought police are going to take down this channel.
That's right. We never know when the thought police are going to take down my channel, that's for sure. So on December 6th, I saw this breaking story on Twitter, which is pretty much the only place you can get unbiased news. And what it said was the U.S. Capitol cop Byrd, who fatally shot an unarmed Trump demonstrator, Ashley Babbitt, had so many misconduct infractions that he was placed on a secret blacklist known as the Lewis List. And that was a list that was maintained by the U.S. Attorney in D.C., and the officers on that list, at least in D.C., are not allowed to testify in trials. So first thing I want to do is help you cop watchers and auditors understand what the Brady Lewis list is, because a lot of people don't really understand that it's not a law or requirement that these officers can't testify. It's that these officers are such horrible officers that it would be folly for the prosecutor to call them, but yet they're still on the payroll. And of course, we know Washington, D.C. is about 99% Democrat, far left. So that's another issue that the Trump supporters and the January 6 people that are still in prison without hearings are upset about, is that they don't feel like they're getting a fair shake. And so what I've tried to do is present the other side, since the bias is so against the January 6 people, to at least give you an opportunity to understand what's really going on out there. So the Lewis list or Brady list is basically like a do not call list. And it's specifically maintained by the U.S. Attorney's Office in D.C. And these lists are named after the U.S. Supreme Court Brady versus Maryland. And that's the case that talks about, along with the Izazaga case that in California, that the prosecutor has to turn over exculpatory evidence that could tend to prove your innocence. So in this case, they don't tell you who's on the list. It's really difficult to get the information. The police unions protect these people. And by the way, we're going to talk about Caroline and Fort Worth's case and what happened with Officer Krueger. It's going to blow your mind. Same kind of stuff. The police unions defend these guys. And it's all about getting kickbacks from the unions to political campaigns. That's what unions are all about. You support the union gives money to the political campaign that makes sure the unions stay in power and get pay raises, unearned pay increases. And so that's the way it works. And then prices go up, of course, because now their pay goes up, and that creates more inflation. And so government employee unions, you guys know that I don't agree with that. I don't think there should be any government employee unions. They already have the best union in the world. It's called the American taxpayer. And the American taxpayer should be the one who decides if they get pay raises or get fired, not some union that donates money to a politician that could be very corrupt. Give me a bunch of ones if you agree. Now, the Lewis list is a list of a confidential registry of police officers who have been involved in misconduct or have issues that could compromise their credibility in court. This list includes officers with criminal records, those under investigation, or those who have been found liable for professional misconduct. It's crazy. It's confidential, right? But it's why can't we, the people, know about the list? Could somebody in the sidebar explain this to me? I'm totally confused. Officers on this list are generally not called to testify by prosecutors unless their potential testimony is disclosed to the defense, right? So that's part of the exculpatory evidence issue. And so in California, we would also have the opportunity to do a pitches motion to get the personnel record of any related activities that we're accusing the cop of in our instant case that have happened in the past. And typically that would be reviewed by the judge in camera away from the jury, okay? Because that could potentially bias the jury, which could create a mistrial, which would then cause the judge to have to set a new trial, similar to what we saw in Caroline and Fort Worth's case. Not the same facts, but mistrial, retried. A mistrial doesn't mean that you're off, and double jeopardy doesn't attach, okay? So you're not off. Right. Yeah. I'm sorry, Christopher. Yeah, I'm still not feeling well, and I did pinch a nerve in my back, so I'm kind of messed up. Thank God that I do stretching and exercise, according to the doctor. It would have been far worse, but I've been in a lot of pain. I would have gone on yesterday, but this is just old martial arts injuries from when I was younger. It's part of being a man, it happens. But yeah, having the cold hasn't been helpful either. Now, these officers on the list are generally not called to testify by prosecutors unless their potential testimony is disclosed to the defense, which would allow you to cross-examine them and test their credibility. And typically that's really bad for a jury. Now, a DC jury that's so biased against Trump and the January 6 people, I don't think it really would have mattered. I think that would have been a hanging jury. And that's why the family tried to pull their wrongful death case away from DC. I mean, in the legal community, DC is sort of known as the welfare recipient jury pool, right? They're going to go for whatever government employee gives them the most free welfare and free benefits. That's who they'll side with. And that's sort of the inside joke. If you have a case in DC that involves a Republican or something like that, or a military veteran, get it out of DC. They're not going to, that's the joke anyways. I don't know if it's true. Thank God I don't practice in DC right now. Now, does it automatically disqualify cops from testifying? No, it does not. But the prosecution has to inform the defense, which can easily blow out the whole case, right? So it's really interesting as we get into this officer's history, like what the heck happened here, guys? So the process and criteria for inclusion on such lists can vary, but the overarching purpose is to ensure fair trials by maintaining transparency about witness credibility. And so that's all that list is. And so this particular officer, his name is, well, they call him the Ashley Babbitt killer, but his name is Officer Byrd, and let me see if I can get you his, Michael Byrd. And he killed Ashley Babbitt on January 6th during the Capitol incursion. I'm going to show you some video of that in a minute. And after Just News just reported that Byrd had a lengthy disciplinary sheet and numerous dings on his permanent record during his time with the Capitol Police in November, two separate sources reported in December, just recently, a few days ago, that Byrd, among other things, was on this Brady list or Lewis list of officers who could not or would not be called to testify by prosecutors because of their untrustworthiness. So the revelation was first reported by Paul Sperry of Real Clear Investigations on December 6th in a post in which he said Byrd had so many misconduct infractions that he was placed on a secret blacklist known as the Lewis list, which we already talked about. So now, to be clear, evidence of existence of the Lewis list is hardly a secret, but who's on it is what's a secret, and it's almost impossible to get this information. Vice magazine reported on the list back in 2020 in the context of a group seeking information about who is on it via Freedom of Information Act requests, FOIA requests. All right. So the list more broadly are called Brady lists across the country in honor of that 1963 Supreme Court case, the Brady case, Brady versus Maryland, which we just kind of went over a minute ago. In that case, the Supreme Court ruled the government must turn over all evidence that could be seen as exculpatory to defense attorneys, which we just discussed. Over time, prosecutors and police departments began to realize that if an officer had a long record of problematic behavior and was still on the force, like Officer Krueger, for example, that record of problematic behavior would have to be turned over to the defense in cases where the officer might have to testify. Hence, Brady lists began to develop within the prosecutorial side of the criminal justice system, which are lists of officers who are off limits to testify in cases because of their record. I mean, you can't make this stuff up, guys. This is just blowing me away. Ay, ay, ay. So give me a bunch of ones if you think that officers who violate someone's unalienable civil rights, that should be a capital penalty. It shouldn't even be something where qualified immunity doesn't apply. I believe that if a public servant violates the civil rights of we the people, that should be a capital offense. So give me a bunch of ones if you agree with me on that. Now, let's see here. See if there's anything else we can talk about that'll be helpful to understand what's going on. So the subcommittee, Byrd's record was uncovered during this House Administration Oversight Subcommittee investigation into Capitol Police disciplinary process, and was chronicled in a letter by Representative Barry Loudermilk in Georgia. And it was sent to the department's chief, Tom Menger, in which the lawmaker expressed concerns about the officer's promotion. Like, why did he get promoted to captain if he's got this problem with credibility? The subcommittee is dedicated to ensuring the USCP has autonomy from political pressures so it can make operational and personnel decisions, says Loudermilk. However, based on information obtained by the subcommittee regarding the USCP's handling of Captain Byrd following January 6th of 2021 and his significant disciplinary history, says Loudermilk, I have concerns about USCP's decision to promote him to the rank of captain. Now, a lot of people think that was just to sort of shut him up and sort of pay him off and make him go along with the program about what happened on January 6th, with Capitol Police literally ushering people into the building and then later charging them with trespass after they invited them to come in. Now, the issues began in 2004 when Byrd gave conflicting reports to police regarding shots he fired at a stolen car as it was driven away from his neighborhood while he was off duty. So he's popping shots off at a car that's driving away. Even I know not to do that, guys, and I'm a crazy jarhead. Now, he was, and this is while he was off duty, and this investigation continued until 2019, when then Lieutenant Byrd was referred to the USCP Office of Professional Responsibility for leaving his loaded service weapon. You can't make this up. For leaving his loaded service weapon in a bathroom in the Capitol Visitor Center, guys. I mean, this guy is totally like a clown. This guy should be nowhere near a firearm, let alone a police officer. Give me a bunch of ones if you agree that a police officer who leaves his service pistol in a public restroom at the police visitor center is clearly unfit for duty on any police force or anywhere else, or even be eligible to own a firearm. That's crazy to me. So, however, Sperry's post didn't come up with a fuller story. And then it's worth noting that the language, the Lewis list is defined in one FOIA request, is a database maintained by U.S. Attorney's Office for District of Columbia. And among other things, it refers to allegations of misconduct against DC Metropolitan Police officers. So that's what they're referencing that list as in their catch-all phrase to try to force the government to turn over the list. Who are these officers like Byrd, right? The difference in verbiage from the 1979 Lewis case is the Lewis v. United States, which dealt specifically with DC's Metro Police. So it's basically like a shepherdized version of the Brady versus Maryland case, but more specific to Washington District of Columbia, right? Because it's a district, it's not a state. So many people call it the welfare check state because most of the voters there are, they say, welfare recipients. So hence the fact that Washington's list is called the Lewis list, specifically while these lists maintained across this fruited plain are called Brady lists. Generally, not only was there not a story to go with it, but Byrd wasn't a member of the Metropolitan Police Department, apparently. Well, there might be some cross-pollination of language between the MPD and the USCP. The U.S. Attorney for D.C., which handles MPD cases, also gets involved in federal matters. It seems somewhat unclear how reliable this information might be. However, this was followed several days later by a separate story from The Blaze entitled Exclusive. Officer who killed Ashley Babbitt abandoned U.S. Capitol Post for card game, lied to investigators as well. That part's also pretty bad, as there are a lot of other revelations, but reported messages from Thomas A. Tad DiBiase, General Counsel for U.S. Capitol Police, confirmed that yes, Byrd is in fact on that Lewis list. So the messages apparently came in after the January 6, 2021 killing of Babbitt, when records obtained by the Committee on House Administration Subcommittee on Oversight, gosh, too much to say, showed that top Democrats worked with DiBiase to find ways to help Byrd financially in the months after he shot and killed Babbitt at the Capitol. And many say that was in an effort to silence him from discussing the corruption within the department and what he was told to do as a result of the so-called January 6 riots, which many people now believe were staged. One of them was finding a way to house Byrd to keep him safe, ostensibly. Finding a way to house Byrd to keep him safe. DiBiase met with Jamie Fleet, staff director for then House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, to discuss options to help Byrd, according to an email uncovered by congressional investigators. Pelosi had earlier said she wanted Byrd taken care of in a Blaze news source who directly witnessed the statement during a meeting. DiBiase suggested that they could place Byrd at one of the department's continuity sites, but that would require top secret clearance. Continuity sites are maintained to ensure that Capitol Police could continue to operate and communicate in the event of a catastrophe in Washington, D.C. That would be a problem, he said in the email. We believe it would be very difficult for him to obtain one, given that he has had significant issues in his record, basically, because he's on the Brady Lewis list, for crying out loud. And there you have it. Call it a Brady list, call it a Lewis list, call it what you like, but Michael Byrd is on it for a series of infractions that date back 20 years at this point, yet he kept getting promoted and is still a hero to the left, while Babbitt is a raving lunatic who got what she deserved, according to many Democrats. And at this point, knowing what we know about Byrd, about Capitol Police's actions on January 6th, and about how human intelligence sources were in the Capitol incursion crowd, how can we take anything our government tells us seriously? And that is an article by C. Douglas Golden, and that is with Western Journal. And then there's a follow-up article in the, and I'll drop these links for you guys. There's a follow-up article in Just the News that gets deeper into his record. All right, so hopefully you guys understand what's going on. Pretty freaking wild. So let's get into the next part of it. So this officer, Byrd, is known to be a problem, kind of like Officer Krueger. So it's a real problem. And they kept him on, and a lot of people are saying it's because it was political, right? And so what ended up happening is Ashley Babbitt ended up getting, many say, assassinated by this guy. So the first thing that we'll do is teach you a little bit more about this list, and then we'll get into it.
Today's topic is the Brady List, sometimes called the Law Enforcement Integrity Database. ASCOPS received a number of questions about the Brady List and how it impacts officers' careers. So we want to provide a basic overview and answer the most common questions. This video is part of Law Enforcement Lessons, an online resource providing 5-minute videos that will help you understand legal issues facing police officers. I'm Steve Serbalik. I'm a lawyer who regularly represents police officers in the state of Arizona, and I'm a panel attorney for ASCOPS. This video will cover what the Brady List is, what it is not, and what to do if you find out that you're on the Brady List or if you're being considered for placement on the list. Please note that this is a general summary and not legal advice, so please consult with your lawyer and your union representative to talk about your specific circumstance. Our goal for this video is to provide you a basic understanding of the Brady List process and how it may impact your career. But the most important thing for you to know is, if you find yourself in trouble at work or worried about the Brady List, please contact a representative as soon as possible. Experienced representatives can help you navigate this complicated topic, but only if you ask for help. The 5th and 14th Amendments of the Constitution contain what's called a due process clause. Specifically, they guarantee that no person may be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. The term Brady List comes from a United States Supreme Court case from 1963 that interpreted these rights. Courts interpret due process to include the right of a criminal defendant who's obviously facing the potential of losing life or liberty, with mandatory disclosure about witnesses that may testify against them in a criminal trial. This means if a prosecutor knows that a witness has integrity issues, possible biases, or a criminal history, the prosecutor must disclose that information to the criminal defendant. Each prosecuting agency either maintains their own list or shares the list with another prosecuting agency. For example, a city attorney may decide to use the county attorney's Brady List, or the city attorney could choose to maintain their own list. There is no universal Brady List. You could be on one Brady List for one prosecutor, but not on another. The Brady List, or Officer Integrity Database, is a disclosure list. It's a way for a prosecutor to keep track of potential witnesses.
That's right, and I want you to see this is a video from somebody who represents police, right? So I want you to see what their perspective is. So let's keep going.
Like police officers who, if called to testify, would have background materials that the prosecutor would disclose to the defense. This brings us to the concept of an integrity database. A database is simply a collection of information stored for easy retrieval.
Simply.
Prosecutors' offices deal with hundreds or thousands of potential witnesses. So keeping track of the witnesses requiring disclosure helps them meet their constitutional requirements in an efficient way. Some officers ask us if being on the Brady List means that they are unable to testify. The answer? No. Police officers can testify in criminal cases. whether or not the prosecutor must disclose information to the defense attorney about the officer's history. We're also asked about whether an officer is subject to discipline by his or her department because of a placement on the Brady List. Again, the answer is no. State law requires that department discipline be based upon just cause, and placement on the Brady List alone should not be enough to be disciplined without receiving the due process guaranteed by law.
Unfortunately, the due process that the officers really get it's political due process. That's what we've been finding, that it's the police unions and politicians and insurance companies do everything they can to make sure that these cops can stay on the force, and not only stay on the force, but get promotions, despite the fact that they regularly violate the civil rights of other people. And what's really sad about the Byrd case is that since it's a political issue between Trump and Biden or whatever, we have a lot of people on the left that are supporting what Byrd did and ignoring the fact that he basically killed this woman in cold blood. But let's keep watching.
Finally, we're often asked if the Brady List is secret. This answer is a little more complicated. Prosecutors do not need to release the entire contents of their databases to the public or to the media, as it's considered attorney work product. But generally speaking, an officer placed on a Brady List and defense attorneys in cases where the officer may testify receive notice that the officer is in the database. If you find out that you're on the Brady List, don't panic. Generally speaking, the circumstances behind why you are listed are far more important than the mere fact that a prosecutor decided to disclose information about you to criminal defendants. This probably comes as no surprise, but we highly recommend that you contact your union and a lawyer if you're placed on the Brady List. Together, we will work to evaluate the many factors involved in your case, and we will plan for the future. If you're an ASCOPS member, this consultation is covered under your legal plan.
There you go.
When you do contact us, we will make sure that the information that the prosecutor used to decide to place you on a Brady List is factually accurate. If it's not, we will take the appropriate steps to correct the record. It's important to remember that you need to plan for your future. Addressing Brady List issues and questions early and efficiently will help you plan out the rest of your career and address any questions that members of your department may have. So here's the recap. We covered what the Brady List is. It's how prosecutors...
All right, so we already know what that's all about, all right? So we get it, okay? We get it. So the Brady List is something that prosecutors have created because they know these cops are so bad that they don't want to let them testify in most cases. And obviously that could potentially affect the officer's promotion and clearly their overtime pay, right? Because how is the officer going to get time and a half if every time he shows up to testify, he's not allowed to testify? So that's what they're really concerned with. Think about it, guys. They don't really care about what the officer did wrong. They care about making sure the officer can make more money, because that means he can keep paying union dues. And then part of those union dues go to those politicians that keep getting reelected into office, who then strengthen and empower the police. And they're typically the same politicians who keep talking about how they want to defund the police, which we all know is a lie. They don't want to defund the police. So it's really amazing, these lying politicians. And ultimately it's our people, our regular Americans, who are the ones who suffer as a result of this. Give me a bunch of ones if you agree. By the way, good seeing you, Black Man 903, Life Under the Microscope. And many people believe that, Life Under. Jeff, good seeing you. James Forbes and Christopher, all you guys. What's the matter? You, man, I can't believe all my buddies showed up today so early. By the way, I hope you guys have an amazing Christmas and all that good stuff. I'm going to do my best as I go. Hey, what's up, BZ? I'm going to, and Jody Shiloh, good seeing you. So I'm going to do my best when I visit my mom in San Diego to do some lives for you. I'm bringing my judo cords with me so I can do some flips, practice my throws with my bungees. So hopefully I can do some video of that for you. Hopefully my back will be feeling all right. So that'll be super fun. But what we're going to do right now, and again, pretty much 99.90% of the news stories and the video out there are anti-Babbitt and pro-Biden. So I wanted to find something that was at least like somewhat biased in favor of her because it was her life that was taken. So it's only 8 minutes long, and we'll watch it really quick. And again, I'm trying to present this from an unbiased point of view. The problem is there's no unbiased news sources. It's all either 100% pro-Democrat, anti-Trump, kill Babbitt, she's horrible, or it's, there's really nothing in the middle. So hopefully we can try to find some common ground as we watch this video, and I'll try to narrate it for you to give you the other side of the story as we watch this.
Leaks shows that ballot counters were instructed to enter challenge ballots into vote tabulating machines in Wayne County. Normally, challenge ballots would be set aside and not counted. And White House Press Secretary Kayleigh McEnany told Sean Hannity this week that the Trump campaign has 234 pages of sworn affidavits from witnesses alleging vote fraud.
They are alleging this is one county, Wayne County, Michigan. They are saying that there was a batch of ballots where 60% had the same signature. They are saying that 35 ballots had no voter record, but they were counted anyway, that 50 ballots were run multiple times through a tabulation machine, that one woman said her son was deceased, but nevertheless somehow voted.
In Nevada, at least 10,000 non-residents were allowed to send in ballots for counting there. And what about Pennsylvania and other states? Well, here to share some evidence is Neil McCabe. He's communications director at Project Veritas. Neil, thanks for your time. So I know your organization and James O'Keefe are known for your many undercover videos. We've shown portions of them over the years. Now, you've received more than 12,000 tips about fraud this time, some from whistleblowers afraid to come forward. So tell us what you've discovered overall.
Well, Gary, we've received, as you said, thousands and thousands of phone calls and emails, and we're sifting through all of them. We have a special team of people dedicated to make sure that we sort of separate the wheat from the chaff. But we do have very important whistleblowers who have come forward. 2 postal workers in Traverse City, Michigan, confirmed to us that late ballots were being collected, sorted separately so that they could be postmarked November 3rd. And these are late ballots that came in after Election Day. Richard Hopkins, who is a mail carrier in Erie, Pennsylvania, he came forward with a similar account. He said that he overheard his post.
So the people that went to the January 6th protest, they went there because a lot of them directly witnessed these things, like vote counters, constitutionally mandated vote counters kicked out, lied to, being told there was a water leak when there wasn't, so they'd have to leave, being told that they were going to stop counting. And as soon as these constitutionally mandated vote counters left, they resumed counting, pulling boxes of ballots that were put under a table earlier in the morning, that kind of stuff in Georgia. And of course, the lapdog press immediately went to work trying to discredit all this stuff. But most people don't believe the legacy media, especially the January 6th protesters who showed up at the Capitol. But this is the kind of stuff that they had information about that you wouldn't have seen on CNN or PMSNBC or any of the far left news stations. So this is kind of why they went. I'm just trying to give you lay a foundation as to why they even had these riots. So let's go.
Postmaster rebuking a supervisor because one of the late ballots that came in was postmarked November 4th instead of the 3rd. Now, Hopkins said he heard this on the morning of November 5th. Now, Hopkins originally spoke to us with a disguised voice and a blurred face. Eventually, he decided he wanted to come on the record with his own name, and so he did that. He also swore out an affidavit, which was submitted to the Senate Judiciary Committee and acknowledged by South Carolina Republican Senator Lindsey Graham as being a keystone document in his investigation into election fraud. Since then, Hopkins has received tremendous pressure to change his account, and he endured more than 3 hours of an interrogation from an agent from the Post Office Inspector General Office who was flown in from New York City, Gary, to basically work him over.
And so a lot of the complaints that I get from people, from whistleblowers who've asked me to represent them, is that the U.S. Post Office is basically like another branch of the Democrat Party. And, they're the ones who now deliver the ballots with vote by mail. And there's a lot of people at the post office who don't like what's going on. and they're being threatened with their jobs for whistleblowing about it. And this is some of that evidence. Let's keep listening.
And to quote, update, unquote, his statement.
Okay.
This Inspector General, go ahead.
Okay, Neil, I want to show a clip of that right now because we have a clip that you guys provided. So here it is.
It's getting crazy, right? And it's out of a lot of people's control. And so the reason they called me in is to try to harness that storm, try to reel it back in before it gets really crazy. We like to control our mind, and when we do that, we can convince ourselves of a memory. I'm not scaring you, but I am scaring you.
Neil, the Washington Post reported that after that federal interrogation, Hopkins recanted his story, but Hopkins later released a video saying that's not true. So what's going on here? Is Hopkins believable?
Yeah, Gary, I think if you go back to that Washington
Wrinkle.
Post story, you'll see that they have updated their headline and their story to include Hopkins' statement. What Hopkins said is that he was worked over. They gave him fear and anxiety. They told this guy, Richard Strasser, who was from the IG's office at the post office headquarters in New York, he told him that he was going to be in trouble because he could be accused of deception because he raised more than $130,000 on a GoFundMe page. Now, Hopkins was very anxious. He was very concerned. Strasser told him, the only way I can protect you is that you.
By the way, Black Man just got added as a moderator. I'm not Black Man 903. I'm, you've been a loyal subscriber for a while now. So I don't know what's going on, but everybody make sure not to time out Black Man or block any of his comments. He's one of us. And my same speech, Black Man 903, is with great power comes great responsibility. I give you guys these wrenches more than anything so people will know who not to time out, because you guys are, cool people. And same with you, Ghost Man. Everybody give me a bunch of ones for Ghost Man and Black Man 903, our two new moderators. Obviously we want to keep out the lowlifes and the losers who want to accuse us of nonsense and cause problems in the chats, but definitely you guys are in like Flynn. So let's finish up this video.
Sign this statement to amend what you said before. Now, Hopkins didn't have a lawyer present. He didn't have a union rep present. He thought that Strasser was trying to protect him, and he signed it. Now, after he signed it, Hopkins asked for a copy of the document. Strasser said, I can't give you a copy of it because it is part of an ongoing investigation. The next thing Hopkins knows, he's put on administrative leave without pay, and that document that Strasser said he couldn't have a copy of was released by House Democrats with the headline that Hopkins admitted that he lied. Hopkins did not lie. Hopkins stands by his account, and he recorded the more than 2 hours or 3 hours that he was in that room with Strasser.
Also, I want to get to Michigan in a minute, but another one in Pennsylvania in Bucks County, you found destroyed ballots, and then the director of the elections there verified the authenticity of those ballots, so they weren't fake. Tell us about that. Why is it worrisome?
Our Project Veritas journalists were poking around Bucks County. They went to a closed election center that had been opened to handle sort of the flux from Election Day. They saw the bags of trash. They said, hey, let's just grab these bags of trash, take them back to the hotel and see what's in it. They opened it up. They found roughly a dozen ballots that were what they call spoiled ballots. And many of them have been ripped up by hand. Pennsylvania state law says that spoiled ballots must be kept under lock and key for 22 months, and they are part of any recount so that inspectors conducting the recount can verify whether they indeed are spoiled or not. Obviously, if there's a recount in Pennsylvania, spoiled ballots thrown in the garbage are not going to be part of that. And obviously, it was a violation of law. We're seeing these irregularities all over the place, Gary.
Yeah, yes, Neil. And of course, there's no evidence of any widespread fraud here, but we've got plenty of examples. Let's go back to Michigan. Poll watchers in Detroit say thousands of mail-in ballots were counted from people who were not properly registered. At least 10,000 mail-in ballots were returned from dead people. And here's a whistleblower, right? A short clip from your video of a post office in Traverse City, Michigan, the Barlow branch.
We were issued a directive this morning to collect any ballots we find in mailboxes, collection boxes, just outgoing mail in general, separate them at the end of the day so that they could hand stamp them with the previous day's date. Today is November 4th, for clarification.
We spoke to a second mailman and also in Traverse City, Michigan. He did not want to come on a recorded line with us, but he confirmed his account saying that the same thing was happening in his post office. Listen, Gary, with so much of this election and so many of these ballots being passed through the post office, the integrity of the post office has a direct relationship to the integrity.
And by the way, the Postal Workers Union, the Letter Carriers Union, gave their endorsement to Kamala Harris. So imagine how the Republicans feel knowing that hardcore Democrats who are already in fear of losing their jobs because many feel the post office should be eliminated. Do you really think a lot of people think that they would definitely throw out Republican ballots? And so that's another issue, guys. If you really want to have a fair system, then why is it that you want to attack and assassinate people who are simply asking for fairness? Why is it that a postal worker letter carrier union can endorse a political candidate, but the Republicans can't be upset about the fact that these people are basically in de facto control of the elections now due to this vote by mail ordinance that was issued because of the alleged COVID pandemic?
Of the election itself.
Okay, you're asking for more whistleblowers, others who witnessed the vote fraud, to get in touch with Project Veritas. How can they do that, Neil?
The best way to get in touch with us is at veritastips@protonmail.com.
Okay, Neil McCabe of Project Veritas.
All right. So, I just wanted to lay a foundation so this is why people went to the January 6th protest, right? This is why they went there. And there were a lot of crazy people there. We know that there were a lot of Antifa people there dressed as Trump supporters. We now know that there were at least 40 to 50 undercover FBI informants. And every day that goes by, we're finding out more and more. Like now we have video showing Capitol police officers opening the doors to the Capitol and letting people in. I saw a photograph and a video the other day of an Antifa supporter who was smashing windows with a MAGA hat on, claiming that he supported Trump. And people in the crowd were yelling at him and pointing at him, Antifa, 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 because they were saying, no, be peaceful, be peaceful. And anybody who was saying, let's go into the Capitol, they were pointing fingers at him, yelling, Antifa, Antifa. And then ultimately you have Capitol Police opening the doors to the Capitol and escorting these people inside the Capitol. So, we're not getting the whole story. And so this is why these people were there, though. So I'm trying to just share that with you. It looks like this newscaster has a purple heart on her, which is pretty cool. I didn't notice that till just now. Anyways, let's check this one out next.
As for that shooting victim, as Bill just told you, a San Diego man says it was his wife who was shot in the Capitol yesterday afternoon after seeing video of her during live news coverage. He says he has not been contacted by DC police, and during a news conference yesterday evening, the police chief said the department was withholding her name until next of kin was notified.
I sent her a text. Clearly, it's within a half hour of the point of her dying, but I sent her a text saying, hey, can I get a status check? And I never heard back from her.
Aaron Babbitt says his wife, 35-year-old Ashley Babbitt, is the woman shot inside the Capitol just after 2:45 Wednesday when the building was breached. He shared several photos of his wife, including one of her when a demonstration in support of President Trump was just getting underway. Hours later, he says he watched coverage unfold on the news and subsequently saw what he says was his wife shot and dying on the screen.
She didn't have any weapons on her. I don't know why she had to die in the people's house. That's our house. It's everybody's house. It doesn't matter if you're Democrat or Republican. I don't know why she had to die inside the house. Right. I saw the pictures. I had to see the pictures of my wife dying on the news.
The Metropolitan Police Department said late Wednesday, one woman was shot by Capitol Police and taken to an area hospital where she died. The department said it would be withholding her name until notifying family. Babbitt says Ashley is.
Wait a minute. BZ, did Ghostman make the BZ list? Well, I'm glad you got him unblocked anyway.
The San Diego native who served in the Air Force and DC National Guard for a total of 14 years.
She loved her country and she was doing what she thought was right to support her country and joining up with people, like-minded people that also love their president and their country. And, she was voicing her opinion and she got killed for it.
Woo, man, could you imagine being that guy, losing his wife? And now we know that this cop was a total scumbag on the Brady list, firearms up the kazoo, reprimands. He left one of his service pistols in a public restroom at the visitor center at the Capitol Police. And they actually promoted the guy to captain, and Pelosi was trying to help hide him, trying to keep him quiet, not talk about what was going on. I mean, this is just the tip of the iceberg, guys. Let's keep watching. This is what ended up happening, so you can sort of see what happened to her, and you can decide for yourself if you think that it was a justifiable homicide or not.
Middle and end of the attack on the Capitol. It had police grossly outnumbered and running out of options. Capitol Police officers step aside. Leading up to the shooting of one of the rioters, Ashley Babbitt. Every image providing leads for investigators. Today, arrested.
So you see that the guy pops out of an adjoining building area, adjoining room, pops off, I think, 1 or 2 rounds while she's trying to break through some glass. I'm telling you right now, as somebody who's done defense and also worked for the prosecutor's office, that is not a justifiable homicide. That dude's life was not in danger. He could have easily barricaded himself in the other area. But what he did was that was murder. And give me a bunch of ones if you guys agree. Let's keep watching.
Richard Barnett, who was gleefully posing for photos with his feet on Nancy Pelosi's desk, and later showing off an envelope from Pelosi's office. Today, he was booked into jail, charged with violent entry and theft. Also arrested West Virginia lawmaker Derek Evans, videotaped leading some of the mobs breaking into the Capitol. The attack led to the death.
Now, Life Under says that she was trying to hold people back from going in. And I've heard that before from others as well. I mean, I can't really tell exactly based on the video, but either way, this guy's life was not in direct danger. He's popping rounds off, taking this woman's life. And now we know, based on his history, that he would not have even been eligible to testify against her based on him being on the Brady Lewis list. So the more and more this story comes out, and the more and more we're not being brainwashed by CNN and PMSNBC and looking at the actual evidence, the more and more we're seeing that somebody lied to us. Keep on watching.
Deaths of 5 people, including Capitol Police Officer Brian Sicknick. Flags have been lowered at half staff.
A failure of historical proportion. And quite frankly, those Capitol Police officers really deserved a much better planning and response from their own leadership cadre. And it's just
well, we now know, based on evidence that came out yesterday, that then President Trump ordered the National Guard to come to defend the Capitol, and his orders were disobeyed. And that is now a fact. That is, and the January 6th committee covered all that stuff up, and that just came out as well. Now there's an active investigation against the Halliburton lady. What's her name? Liz Cheney. So it's starting to blow up, guys. We're starting to get real information that's not just politically biased. So this story still has legs.
It's a black eye on all of us as Americans.
The threat to Washington may not be over. In the mob storming the Capitol, investigators say there were armed white supremacists and anti-government militias. There are celebrations online. According to the Anti-Defamation League, some of the posts include threats to the inauguration. Trump will be sworn in for a second term on January 20th. Round 2 on January 20th. This time, no mercy. I'm going and I'll be armed this time.
This wasn't a riot. It was an attack. This wasn't spontaneous.
And of course, ADL is the propaganda wing of the administrative industrial complex. They're the ones who feed the FBI information, like all white males who are in the military or potential domestic violent extremists. Their goal is to keep the false claim that racism is rampant and all white males are the enemy. That's what a lot of people are saying about the ADL. And they get a lot of government grants, millions of dollars in taxpayer money in order to keep this false narrative going.
It was coordinated, and we need to now reckon with the consequences.
Jeff Begays, CBS News, Washington.
Yeah, and obviously, look, that was terrible. What those people should not have been in there smashing up the people's house. I have absolutely no love for anybody that does that. But at the same token, they didn't deserve to get shot. They believed that the election was stolen based upon a lot of evidence that could tend to prove that it was. And so they were really, really upset, and they wanted to take back the people's house, a lot of them. Other ones were trying to hold people back. Many people say that Babbitt was trying to hold people back, trying to prevent the Capitol from being invaded. So we just don't know the full story because the January 6th committee was created 100% by Democrats. The two Republicans that were on there were not selected by the Republicans. For the first time in history, a select committee was 100% selected by the other party. And of course, it was Liz Cheney, who many people say is a rhino, like Democrat, Republican. And then that other guy, I can't even remember his name, but there was this other guy who was also what they call a rhino Republican, a Republican in name only, like a far left Republican, Northeastern liberal style Republican. So, and the committee destroyed valuable evidence. They covered things up. They did not allow exculpatory evidence to come in. And they created this January 6th report that most people who know the rules of evidence, like me, who are lawyers, realize that it was just a one-sided joke. It had no validity whatsoever because of the bias involved. So that's another reason why it kind of makes me think, as a lawyer, I want to find out the truth. As a libertarian, I don't support either party, but I always support the side that's on the losing side. I want to find out what happened here. What is the real truth? And I'm hoping that my audience also feels the same way. I hope that you want to know what the real truth is, not what the far Marxist left news media has brainwashed you to think it is. Now, let's get into the next issue, because this segues right into what happened with Carolina and Fort Worth. So the police union is now defending what happened with Officer Krueger, same way that they're doing in the DC. And that's why I wanted to show this, because I know there are quite a few liberal Democrats who also watch my channel who just hate the people that were at January 6th. They think they should all be locked up for life. They don't think they should get any kind of due process. And I'm thinking to myself, well, wait a minute, but don't you support Carolina and Fort Worth? Because she's being accused of doing a similar thing, talking back to the police, interfering with an investigation, interfering with police activities. And she was basically thrown to the ground and beaten by this cop, given a brain injury. But yet it's okay to support her, but it's not okay to support people who are falsely accused at the Capitol, or at least, accused by a cop and shot by a cop who was on the Brady List. I mean, this guy would not even be eligible to testify, but yet you guys think that it was okay, really, for this guy to gun down Ashley Babbitt, and it just tells me, like, wow, this country is really screwed up, that people are so political that they can't see the forest through the trees. If you support the death of your enemy by lack of due process, you're saying those same people like you who came for your enemy will be coming for you next. That's why we have to stand for everyone's due process rights and not hate them just because they're a MAGA or they're a Broom Hillary supporter or whatever. You have to make sure that you support everybody's natural, unalienable rights. So in this case, same kind of deal with Carolina and Fort Worth. The police union is defending Officer Krueger. All right. And they're saying, and for you guys who have not seen what's going on, I'm going to show you part of Carolina and Fort Worth show that she did earlier today. Let's OTVO. Good seeing you.
You read that title correctly. The police union is trying to get Officer Krueger's job back. Let's start with Matthew Krueger being fired for the excessive force he used on me June 23rd.
And post them to her YouTube channel. We're about to show you the body camera footage from the arrest, but we want to show you and warn you it is considered disturbing.
Hey, Britt.
Caroline, we're busy. Go to the other side of the street. You can go.
There's no investigation. There's no nothing.
You can go to the other side of the street. You're going to get arrested. I'm not warning you again.
What are you talking about?
Go to the other side of the street right now.
Wait, tell me why first. We're doing it.
You're under arrest. Turn around.
Now, according to Rodriguez, she was knocked unconscious in that moment. Another officer on scene says she is bleeding in that video right after she was brought down. She was taken to the hospital and then to jail afterwards, charged with interference with police duties. She was sentenced to 30 days in jail for that, but she is appealing the verdict. The Fort Worth Police Department found Officer Krueger's use of force unjustified and a violation of department policy.
At the end of that video, which they cut out, I did agonal breathing, meaning I was snoring, just like a boxer does when he's knocked out in the ring. This means that your body is dying, but your brain is trying to keep your body alive. I feel it was excessive, but evidently the police union does not. Here's what they had to say.
And evidently the news also. I mean, come on. We all know that she was knocked out, but you could see how the press just kind of like glossed over that. That just tells you everything you need to know about the press, guys.
Fort Worth Officer Matthew Krueger was fired on Wednesday because an internal affairs investigation determined the level of force he used to arrest Caroline Rodriguez was unjustified. Rodriguez was live streaming officers while they tried to investigate a hit-and-run crash. She reportedly ignored orders to move across the street. Video shows Officer Krueger grabbing her arm and swinging her to the ground, causing facial injuries. Fort Worth Police Union is defending the officer's action, saying the technique is one taught in the department's police academy. The Fort Worth Police Officers Association released a statement saying it is shocked and disappointed by the chief's decision. The police union pointed to the fact that the Tarrant County District Attorney's Office refused to file criminal charges against Krueger because there was no criminal conduct committed. Fort Worth Police Officers Association also said Chief Noakes ignored the experts on the Fort Worth Police Department's Force Review Board, who determined the technique Krueger used is taught at the department's training academy. Due to Chief Noakes' decision today, individuals like Ms. Rodriguez will only be empowered in future to interfere with legitimate police actions, making the job of protecting the citizens of Fort Worth even more difficult and dangerous for the brave men and women of the Fort Worth Police Department. Gee, I wonder if Fort Worth Police Officers Association knows that Matthew Krueger was fired from the Irving Police Department for excessive force and then used the Irving Police Officer Association's attorneys to get his job back, or at least try to. This 54-page document will be available in the details of this video. You will notice how similar the orders are in Irving as they are to Fort Worth, and you will notice how similar the excessive force is. Well, let's look at some of the claims of the...
So hopefully you guys are catching this. So she found a document, a public document, where the police union is defending him for something he did, I think, in 2004, which also involved excessive force. It's just like this Bird guy at the Capitol Police, right? Just a history of just being a negligent screw up. And instead of getting fired, Bird actually got a promotion. And he's made to look like a hero after basically taking a woman's life during a protest where he had no justifiable reason for shooting her. He could have just gone another direction. He was not backed into a corner. The DC laws for homicide and justifiable use of force are definitely do not support him not being in prison right now for murder, in my opinion. Anyways, let's keep going.
The Fort Worth Police Officers Association. The first being, this move is taught at the police academy. Well. I guess what you're supposed to do is this. Rip the arm out of the socket, then take both arms and throw them face first into the pavement so that bones are broken underneath their eyes. And make sure they do a death gurgle. And only give them 8 seconds from the time you order them across the street to the time you smash them in the face. Yes, that's definitely taught there. I'm sure it is. But what if I had done that to a police officer? Would they have charges against me? Of course, because it's rules for thee and not for me. Yeah. Duh. We investigated ourselves and found no wrongdoing. And remember the 10-second rule. From the time he points across the street and to the time I'm face planted, it's 10 seconds. Watch. There he is pointing across the street. I'm asking why. Suddenly, 10 seconds pass and I'm face first doing a death gurgle. That's important, you know. That's how it's taught in the academy. And of course, rip that arm out of the socket. Exactly what am I interfering with? I mean, he got out of his vehicle to meet me. I didn't go to him. What was I interfering with? That's why I got convicted. Because the law is not clearly written on interference. And the jury had to follow the law, which is why they gave me a minimum amount of time. But I want you to notice something else that a lot of people haven't seen. And that's the fact that I put my arm behind my back to take the arrest, yet he still used excessive force on me. There it is, right there. And then he yanks my elbow out of socket and throws me face first into the ground.
Wow.
That is excessive force.
See that now, and that tape was excluded by the court based upon, I think that's why the resistance charge was dropped, because that tape would have come in. And typically, if the probative value of the evidence outweighs its prejudicial effect, it can come in. But if it's too prejudicial, it won't. So it would have been too prejudicial, probably in the court's eyes, to show her getting body slammed in relation to a resistance charge. So they dropped the resistance charge, right? I'm just wanting you guys to understand this. They drop the resistance, they bring in interfering, and now they don't have to show that video. And she's right. She was putting her arm behind her back to show compliance. So I don't know if that charge being dropped was a result of a plea bargain, but if the attorney objected and made all the objections on the record, that would be an issue ripe for appeal. So on the appellate record, that would be something that would come in. So hopefully, that's what happened, because, in my mind, being a Texas lawyer, I definitely would have wanted that evidence to come in to show that she was trying to comply. Let's keep going.
That's what they teach at the academy? I wonder. Let's see it from this view again.
There's no investigation. There's no nothing.
You can go to the other side of the street. You're going to get arrested. I'm not warning you again.
What are you talking about?
Go to the other side of the street right now.
Wait, tell me why first. We're doing it.
You're under arrest. Turn around.
Does it look like I refused to go across the street, or was I asking for clarification? You tell me. But wait, there's more. Let's talk about my 30-day sentence in jail, shall we? Now stay with me here. Because the jail's so overcrowded, for every day you do, you get 3. So it's 3, 4, 1. Stay with me here. I got 3 when I was originally arrested. Then in between the verdict and the sentence, I got 1. And then I was sentenced to 30 days.
Right,
and I served
Greg.
5. And this equals 9 times 3.
By the way, give me a bunch of ones for Carolina in Fort Worth, and make sure to double tap the screen and hit that like and subscribe button. Hit that like and subscribe button.
27. One more day and I'd be all done until this happened.
You can testify, but you just can't win, because I'm here to tell you you guilty as sin. Here comes the judge. Here comes the judge. Here comes the judge.
So I'm enjoying my very last day in jail when suddenly I'm told to put on my plastic sandals and I'm put before a judge where he says, I don't think jail's a good place for you. I'm giving you probation for 15 months. And I was like, but I only had 1 more day left. What's up with this? What about the 30 days I've already spent? And he said, I was going to give you 18. I'm only giving you 15 months with harsh conditions. What? And that's a kangaroo court, boys and girls, with shenanigans. And if you want to help me, every time you have a police encounter, pick up a camera. Keep them honest. Keep them accountable. Keep them transparent. Share my story with everyone you know. And maybe together we can fix these problems. Don't wait until it happens to you.
Oh, man, look at that. All right, check it out. I'm going to drop this link so you guys can all, I want everybody to go to Carolina's channel. If you're not already a member of her channel, make sure to subscribe to her channel. She's a nice lady, and she's all about just holding the police accountable. She used to be a school teacher. She's a senior citizen, for crying out loud. Look at her. And this is a cop who had a prior complaint against him for excessive force, I believe. We're going to get into it right now. And I'm going to try to blow this bad chicken up as big as I can for you guys so we can read along. I don't have the pretty version that she has because I don't have enough super chats and super whatevers to afford ordering the copy of this thing. So we're gonna look at the one that's online that I could find that's free. So let me just blow it up as big as I can. You know, because look, I'm still a Marine, so we're going to adapt and overcome. All right, let's just give me a second here. Hopefully it's down here still. All right, here we go. All right. Well, give me some ones if you guys can see it. By the way, guys, if you like the show so far, I have no objections to you buying some memberships for other people so that they can also enjoy my channel and go into the back end and looking at some of my great content that I have that's saved just for the paid subscribers. No objections. So this is it looks like a original petition. So Matthew Krueger is the plaintiff here, and he is going after the city of Irving. All right, this is the city of Irving. I'm not able to highlight anything, but hopefully you guys can see it. So it basically says that he intends to conduct this is back, I believe, in 2004. Okay, so this is not his first rodeo. All right, right on, Brett. Brett comes through with 5 gift memberships. Thank you, Brett. Everybody give me a bunch of ones for Brett Ray and all of our new members that Brett Ray gifted, including Rune Dragon, Bruce R., Sly Shy 58, John Carilla, and Dennis Johnson. I really appreciate that, Brett. That's the kind of stuff that I like to see because I believe that I share things and explain things in a way that no other person does on YouTube or anywhere else. I really do my best to break things down to you in a way that goes back to natural rights and what our founding fathers intended for this country from the perspective that all of our rights are granted to us by a creator, not the government. And that's right in the Declaration of Independence. And so I'm really appreciative of people like Brett and other people who throw me super chats and all that stuff, because it helps me support my channel. And then people who buy copies of my ebook, which I'm going to show you right now. Hold on one second. Let me throw this bad chicken up here, where I take you on my journey of how I became a practicing lawyer with no law degree or undergrad on the law office study program. So I appreciate it if you guys would consider supporting my channel by picking up a copy for $19.99. You just go to my profile on YouTube. If you don't want to throw me a super chat or a super sticker or something like that, and by the way, your chats go to the front of the line when you do that. But if you just want to learn about what I did, you're interested in becoming an attorney, and you don't have a lot of money and you want to get some inspiration, this would be a great thing for you to pick up for one of your family members or someone who's going through depression, who doesn't think that they can do it. Yes, you can do it. I became a lawyer on the California State Bar Law Office Study Program, and I didn't have any undergrad or Juris Doctorate or anything. And I did it, and I was a practicing attorney after 4 years of being on that program. And it was the greatest thing that I ever did in my life, besides being a Marine and making it through boot camp. It was my greatest achievement. So I appreciate it. If anybody wants to learn about me, you can pick up a copy. Now let's get back into the show. So Krueger basically was requesting discovery, and this was back in Irving, Texas. So this is at another department. I mean, you can't make this stuff up, guys. So he's at Irving, Texas. He gets the police union involved. He cites the Civil Code, Chapter 143, the Local Government Code, yada, yada, yada. He cites the Chief of Police, City of Irving, talking about a internal investigation. And hold on a minute. I'm going to try to see. It cuts off, guys, so I don't have the whole thing. But the bottom line is he's contesting an indefinite suspension through his union. Okay. And for those of you who can't use PayPal, just reach out to me and I'll figure out another way for you to do it. But yeah, whatever it takes, guys. It's an ebook and it's really cool. It's definitely inspirational, and it covers my whole time and other states like Alaska and a couple other ones that have law study programs that don't require you to have like the serious educational background where you can still become an attorney. So far, Noel Armerson, Officer Krueger has been with 2 departments, and it looks like he's going to department number 3 next. But anyways, I'm just trying to get to the meat of this. In his original petition, he brings into question the credibility, apparently, of other officers who questioned his credibility, which ultimately persuaded Chief Boyd to make this decision. And he's saying that Chief Boyd's decision was void of evidentiary support, was patently and arbitrarily not sufficient. There was no just cause, and he was denied his due process, basically. And then he gets into no credible evidence, yada, 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 no probative value, Officer Krueger, Irving Police Department. This was April 23rd of 2013. So, okay, 2013, not 2004. So strike that, guys. 2013. Indefinite suspension is what he is contesting, so he can get back on the force. So what happens? Well, ultimately, we know that he wins, and he is able to basically get his certification to where he can go to another department. I'm just trying to find any good stuff in here that we can look at together. And he ends up over at this Fort Worth department where he body slams. Thanks, Joseph Doe. Right on. Everybody, give me a bunch of ones for Joseph Doe. Joseph Doe says that his ex-girlfriend, let me put this up here for you. Joseph Doe just gave us a super chat. And he says, my ex-girlfriend only has a high school education and wanted to try to become a lawyer like you. She is very smart, but has zero self-discipline. Well, Joseph, that is going to be the biggest problem. Me having a father who was a Marine and working construction every summer and getting up at 4 a.m. to do plumbing and electrical, that all steeled me. And then being in the Corps as well myself, steeled me to be able to get through this program. Self-discipline is what it's all about. Discipline equals freedom. So Joseph, all I can do is tell you, pick up a copy of my book and look at what I did and see if she can get motivated. And then beyond that, I recommend that anybody trying to get into this program gets into a serious, like 3 to 4 day a week workout program, starts learning about nutrition so they're able to eat properly and learn discipline that way. That's the start. Working out, exercising, and nutrition will be the first step towards becoming a lawyer with no law degree. I always trained very heavily when I was on this program because you need to stay super, super fit and healthy, believe it or not, because you're going to turn into a roly-poly fat body from sitting and studying so much. And it's really a Herculean task. And so it keeps you motivated when you're eating right, staying off the sugar, staying on a high protein diet, and taking care of yourself. And yes, Life Under, I still need to call you as well. We're going to talk about the that diet. Gosh, I forgot. It's not the paleo diet. It's the carnivore diet. We're going to talk about the carnivore diet next. Hey, Tiffany, good seeing you. She's back. I love having the ladies. Brandy, love having you. Thank you so much. Merry Christmas, everybody, by the way, if I'm not able to go on live as much. But let's get back into what is going on with this complaint. So the bottom line is the court, some kind of an administrative court or something, ordered his immediate reinstatement, and somehow or another he ended up over at this other department. And they can't spell, I don't know what H-naught is. H-naught is not the proper remedy, whatever that is. I don't know. It says here, pursuant to and in compliance with these provisions of the Texas Revised Code, Civil Statute, annotated Article 1269M, yada, yada, yada. They can discipline cops. Gee, that's nice to know that they're allowed to discipline and remove police officers. But when you get the police union involved, it looks like that all goes out the window. And that's what happened with Krueger. And I'm just trying to find something. So the City Council Civil Service Commission, Matthew Krueger is relatively young. Date of birth, 1/29/1986. He has 60 college credits in political science. He's a single male who served and was honorably discharged from the U.S. Air Force. Hear that, guys? He was in the Air Force. Chair Force, and his actions and demeanor as displayed in the 2 cases examined in this hearing did not conclusively reveal any hidden bias or an attitude of prejudgment towards minorities or women. So it says here there were 2 cases. So in this hearing right here, so that means that there's more. So let's see here. I'm just trying to speed read through this. A lot of you guys don't know that I am a speed reader, so I'm trying to find something that stands out, that makes this make more sense. Use of force. Officers can only use force that's reasonable, whatever reasonable is, right? Dereliction of duty. So that's something that they charged him with, apparently. And that case was dismissed. So case dismissed. Well, hold on a minute. Sorry, strike that. Well, city business, performance of duty, sufficient competence. Well, anyways, it is what it is. It is what it is. So you guys get the idea. Officer Krueger is now in a position where I think he has not lost his certification. And because of that, he's probably eligible for rehire with another department. With respect to Carolina and Fort Worth's case where she was found guilty, I think that if her lawyer made the proper objections on the record, there is a reasonable likelihood that the case will be reversed on appeal. I have not seen the full transcript. I have not seen the jury instructions. I don't know if there were pretrial motions. I don't know what the findings were, if there were. So I'm not in a position to be an armchair quarterback and say what was wrong, what was right. Okay, so let's move on to the next story, because I've got a bunch of other stuff I want to cover today before we go. So the next story is a story about a Texas cop who gave a homeless man a poop sandwich, and he got fired again. So this is a San Antonio policeman, and he has a strange obsession with poop-related misconduct. And somehow he got another law enforcement gig 40 minutes away from his other job as a cop. You guys following this so far? I just want you to see, like, we saw that something happening in DC with a cop who shoots someone, but for political reasons, because he's a Democrat in DC, he gets taken care of. Then we see in Texas, could be political reasons there too. Maybe he's a MAGA guy, who knows? But he's already wiped someone out before, caused problems, gets fired, gets his job back, gets transferred over to where Carolina's department is. And now here's another guy who feeds homeless people poop sandwiches. All right. He's a cop. And I mean, you just can't make this stuff up, guys. It's just unbelievable. So his name is Matthew Luckhurst. Not to be confused with Brockwurst. And he was fired from and BZ Watchdog says he's on the Brady list. Unreal, right, James? Exactly, brother. Unreal. So Luckhurst was fired from the San Antonio Police Department in 2020 after a series of offensive acts that he considered to be pranks. First, he gave a homeless man a sandwich filled with dog poop. And later the same year, he defecated in the toilet in a women's bathroom at the department's bike patrol office and smeared brown tapioca substance all along the seat and wall. Luckhurst decided to commit the second act after seeing pictures of actors like Ryan Gosling and Wayne Johnson on the bathroom walls and assumed the images were directed at him and his male colleagues for not being as muscular or handsome as them. So he thought he would get revenge, I guess, by smearing tapioca all over the walls. So he was hired as a Floresville Police Department reserve officer in 2020 and managed to stay employed in the department until last week, when Floresville Mayor Sissy Gonzalez DePel said her office received a flood of calls and messages and emails about residents demanding that Luckhurst be fired. Wow, guys. I mean, you really can't make this stuff up. So at the very end here, it says, bad cops getting fired then rehired at smaller law enforcement agencies is common and often criticized in this profession. In July, the Cleveland police officer who shot a 12-year-old, Tamir Rice, managed to get a new job as an officer in a small Pennsylvania town before he was pressured into resigning 2 days later. So that's one of the cool things about Team MPE and Team DLZ and Team BZ is that we're putting pressure on these departments. We're getting the word out there. We're constantly pressuring people to know what's going on. So it's not like it's being covered up by the for-profit media anymore, or buried. You know, the mainstream media is your enemy by them not reporting things, right? That's how I know they're our enemy, by them not covering things. Give me a bunch of ones if you agree. So by guys like BZ and me and Chili, going out there and constantly covering this stuff, let's pray that our Christmas present is that Krueger cannot get rehired. This guy should be in prison. He should not be on the street as a police officer. Give me a bunch of ones if you agree. In my opinion, the federal government should do a civil rights criminal investigation against Krueger and both police departments and the unions for rehiring Krueger and make sure that he ends up with federal civil rights charges the same way they went after the cops that beat the hell out of Rodney King. Give me a bunch of ones if you agree. It makes sense, doesn't it? Doesn't it make sense that if the local Texas, state, and county agencies, prosecutorial agencies, aren't going to lock this man up for what he did to a senior citizen, a good woman should be locked up in federal prison for violating the civil rights of Carolina in Fort Worth? Please give me a bunch of ones if you agree. Now, the next thing I'm going to cover is I always like to throw a little bit of humor around. So I just wanted to show this to you guys really quickly about what's going on in Japan. So in Japan, if you have a job, drinking with clients or coworkers is a mark of company loyalty and considered part of the job. So here are some examples of loyal company employees in Japan. Thank God that guys like What's the Matter You are always making me feel guilty and making sure that I don't take a drink, because I guarantee you that I would be one of these idiots as soon as I put that thing up to my lips. So thank you guys. Give me a bunch of ones to What's the Matter You for keeping Team MPE on the sober path. Now, the next thing I want to share with you, again, because I like to do humorous things, is I want to know if you think that self-policing sometimes is in order. Because I happen to believe that these ladies at this diner seem to be self-policing themselves just fine. And so far, I don't see any of them getting shot. But you tell me what you guys think. All right. I just can't help. I just think that's the best. Now, I've got this other cool story for you, because I'm one of these people who I really, really feel for people who are locked up, because I know that many people in jail are falsely imprisoned, many, many of them. And I have worked to get people out of state prison in California on habeas corpus motions pro bono or appeals, writs. And I always like it when I run into prisoners, even though they're in a bad spot, who still try and do the right thing. I believe that regardless of whether you're a cop or a prisoner, we're all human beings and we're all God's children. And I believe that we're called to do the right thing, even in difficult circumstances. And so I wanted to share this video with you about a Florida inmate who saved a deputy from an attack. And for her troubles, it looks like she was able to get some clemency. So I want you to watch this and give me a bunch of ones for her.
Time behind bars earned her a broken hand and somewhat of a hero status. And this is why. On June 7th, a female detention deputy at the Falkenberg jail is the target of a sneak attack by a scheming inmate who was armed with a pillowcase and shank. You see other inmates run over including inmate Mary Jean, who jumps into action.
She said that she saw the deputy's feet in the air and she had to jump in as quick as she could, and that there was possibly a shank that she saw in the moment.
Court records show inmate Bridget Harvey and co-defendant April Colvin plotted an escape plan. They created a ruse where inmate Colvin faked an illness to lure the deputy into the bathroom. That's where Harvey would take over, assault the deputy, and take her keys to escape the pod.
She had no reason to do this and to jump in and save a deputy while she's an inmate. It shows that she really is a good person.
And this wasn't the first time Mary Jean has come to the rescue of a detention deputy. She did it 6 months earlier.
She did jump in again when a different inmate had attacked the deputy while she was on her computer.
That inmate is now facing more charges.
The court will adjudicate you guilty of your charges.
As for Mary Jean, she pled guilty to a drug charge and is now headed to a drug treatment program to do a little healing that includes that combat wound for doing the right thing. Gloria Gomez, Fox 13 News.
I love stories like that. I really do. I think that's what this world is all about people doing the right thing in the most difficult and adverse circumstances. So give me a bunch of ones for this woman. If I can find out where she is, I'll try to do a fundraiser for her. I had several friends when I was into heavy duty bodybuilding who were in the Department of Corrections in California, and they were good guys. And even though that they were so-called coppers or whatever, they really went out of their way to make sure the inmates were protected. And I just always appreciated that about them. So just keep that in mind. Not everybody out there who is in the administrative state is your enemy. There are good people everywhere, including prisoners. So keep that in mind. This Christmas, guys, please say a prayer for all those people who have been wrongfully and falsely incarcerated. Because again, we're all God's children. And I feel really terrible for that woman, being locked up, and, hopefully she didn't do anything too bad. We all have our reasons. And yeah, BZ, I will check by mail, but I'll take a look at it. Maybe I can do another show about it. But so now the next video that we're going to do is I became friends with this lieutenant colonel in the Army. I'm sorry, Air Force. I believe it's Air Force. And I think he's a JAG. He was a JAG lieutenant colonel. And I really like his channel. And so I told him that I'm going to share some of his videos and do some reactions. Let me clear up my screen really quick so I can get, because I want you guys to check this dude out, because I think he's got some good stuff. And I always like getting a different perspective. So here's the link to this video and to his channel. And what we'll do is we'll go ahead and kick off the first video, and I'll just do a reaction to it. It's a long video, so I'm probably not going to do the whole thing, but we'll get into it.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Colonel channel. I am your self-proclaimed commander, Lieutenant Colonel Lee Roger Wolfgram. I am also a criminal defense attorney here in downtown Minneapolis, Minnesota. And this video is another one of the Bully Cops videos.
On September 9th, 2024, a deputy with the Montgomery County Precinct 5 Constable's Office in Texas initiated a traffic stop on a driver who pulled into a gas station parking lot. The interaction that followed was captured on the deputy's body camera.
The police stop people because they're really looking for something else. They're trying to get in a situation where they can smell alcohol or marijuana or some indicia of another crime. Because honestly, this is about this bike that's on the back of the car. So is that really something that the police need to be stopping people for, especially when they're wrong? And then they stand by like they know what they're talking about and continue to violate people's rights when they're completely wrong.
You gonna roll down the window? Why not? Roll down the window. Guys, can I help you? Officer Norton, Montgomery County Constable's Precinct 5. The reason I pulled you over is your license plate is obscured. I cannot see your license plate.
You're full of crap anyway because it's got my bicycle things on it.
It still can't be covered.
Yes, it's not covered.
It's obscured. No, it's not. I cannot see your license plate. I cannot see your license plate.
I'm sorry.
Okay, so it's obscured. Do you have your license on you?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
However, it's not obscured.
Okay, it is obscured.
Call Officer Simpson, Sergeant Simpson, and ask him. It is not obscured.
So me not being able to see your back license plate, don't roll up your window on me.
Oh, watch me.
Okay.
I
didn't threaten you. I said don't roll.
Don't roll up your window on me. It's an accident to begin with.
I hope police learn how to have community interactions, how to talk about stops where you don't come on so strong you leave yourself no way to back out of that without feeling like you've been had by the person you stopped. And that's absolutely not what police do. As we saw in previous videos, and you'll see in future videos, what they do is they keep amping it up until either you create a crime because of their action,
that's right,
or you just submit to their superior.
And didn't we just see that with Carolina and Fort Worth? Carolina, I'm going to have to ask you to go across the street, and you basically got 9 seconds. Okay, you're under arrest. She turns around and puts her arm behind her back to comply, but she's like, no, but she's complying at the same time. And for her troubles, she gets thrown on the pavement and almost killed. So that's exactly what happened. And then what happens? She becomes part of the prison industrial complex, the administrative court complex, the revenue road pirate generation system, many would say.
Authority. And what they're really doing is they're deciding what laws say what, because they don't always know, and what constitutional rights matter to them, not to you.
Hey, that's all I said was don't roll your window up on me. Where's your license?
It's not obscured.
Okay. We can agree to disagree.
The deputy claims that the driver's license plate is illegally obscured
right on,
by the bicycle rack.
Me too.
And the driver argues that it is not. Subsection A7 of Section 504.945 of the Texas Transportation Code states that, quote, a person commits an offense if the person attaches to or displays on a motor vehicle a license plate that has a coating, covering, protective substance, or other material that distorts angular visibility or detectability, alters or obscures 1/2 or more of the name of the state in which the vehicle is registered, or alters, covers, or obscures the letters or numbers of the license plate number or the color of the plate. Now, while this could conceivably prohibit covering the letters or numbers of the license plate with a bicycle rack, the statute specifically states that, quote, subsection A7 may not be construed to apply to a bicycle or motorcycle rack that is attached to a vehicle in a normal or customary manner. Accordingly, it is highly probable that a court would conclude that the driver's license plate was not unlawfully obscured, and that therefore the traffic stop was unlawful from its initiation.
Now, let me throw a little caveat out there, because I'm only licensed in California and Texas. Sorry about messing up this video with this stupid thing. Okay, so shall is mandatory, may is permissive. So when you see language in a statute like may not, that gives the officer leeway to have discretion, at least from my point of view, if this was Texas or California, to decide whether or not they could pull someone over. So if the language said shall not be deemed to be, blocking the plate or whatever, like, in other words, they're saying if there's a bicycle rack or something on the back of a car, that means that it's not really blocking the plate, but not really obscuring the plate, because it's a bicycle rack, for crying out loud. But they're using the word may. Remember, may is permissive, shall is mandatory in law. Get out your Black's Law Dictionary if you don't believe me. For all you sovsits who think that that's where all the law flows from, is from Black's laws first. But for the more reasonable guys out there, I'm telling you, the Supreme Court and many other courts in many other states have also found that shall is mandatory, may is permissive. So by putting that may language in there, that causes some trouble, doesn't it? Because now it gives the officer apparently some discretion. At least that's my reading on it. I'm sure that the colonel may have a different point of view, and I'm going to send this over to him so he can take a look at it. But that's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm thinking that the shall and the may language is the reason why the officer probably had the discretion to make the stop. But I still don't think it would hold up in court, because I think that it's the intent of the statute itself. And like he said earlier, the real reason for these stops, guys, is so they can try to find evidence of another crime, so they can make that big money arrest, right? So they can put you in torture cuffs, take you to the dungeon, right? And take away your money, because that's how they get promoted, right, guys? Right? All right, let's keep watching.
Where are you coming from today?
None of your business.
Okay, cool. Any weapons in the vehicle?
None of your business.
It is my business, actually.
Well, actually, it's not, because this is an illegal stop, and you shouldn't even be having a conversation with this woman at all. And so because you don't know the law, you only know the part where you get to stop people. And I'm sure you do this all the time. It just seems so routine that you don't even know the difference between when it's legal and when it's not legal. And then you come on strong, you hold the person there, and then when they challenge you, instead of doing some kind of research, go back to the car, check the statute, anything at all, you just amp it up. Create a situation where you're disrespectful to the person who's actually correct and you're not.
I don't have to answer any more questions.
Yeah, you do. Are there any weapons in the vehicle?
Here you go.
Are there any weapons in the vehicle?
No.
Okay. Any illegal narcotics?
I'm not answering any more questions.
See, why they stopped are any illegal narcotics? Well, what does that have to do with a bike rack? You see what I mean? They're just amping it up. Like, this isn't the real reason for the stop. They're not going to give you a ticket for that. They're going to see if there's something that they can search the car for. Or if they can arrest you, they can search the car.
Okay. Cool. Go ahead and hop out of the vehicle for me.
Excuse me?
Hop out of the vehicle. Go ahead and hop out of the vehicle.
Say that again.
Go ahead and hop out of the vehicle.
No.
Get out of the vehicle.
The vehicle.
Yeah, you are.
Oh, no, I am not.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are. 8520. Can you sit?
Oh, now what? We got to get more officers because this woman has challenged our authority.
That's it.
And so we're going to amp this up now. And we're going to make this a big deal.
Hey, Doc.
And all the woman is basically saying is, you don't have a right to tell me to do anything. And she's
everybody. Dr. Donna Walter just joined the chat. Give me a bunch of ones for Dr. Donna. Super loyal fan. She's been coming in and out of here for months. Dr. Donna, we're doing a video expose of a new guy that I found who I like. He's a JAG officer, former JAG officer who does criminal defense, and he's a light colonel. And I really like his stuff. You know me, I like veterans and military guys. So take a look at this video. I really like the production. I like the way he's done it. I'm going to try to work with him to have him come on my show as well.
Absolutely correct.
Another unit. I have an occupant that's refusing to get out of the vehicle. Yes, you are.
Oh, by the way, I don't recommend this tactic. In fact,
I see you. Let's
watch my
TVO.
other videos. It's your night. It's your evening. Unless you're going to sue them, it is better to give them your ID.
So a JAG officer, just to answer your question, what's the matter you, is Judge Advocate General. And so they're basically the lawyers for the military. So, yeah, you know, he's more federal, uniform code, UCMJ, Uniform Code of Military Justice. But they still have to go through military training. But they have an easier officers candidate school. That is true. They have an easier, at least in the Army. I think in the Marine Corps, I think he would be stuck. He'd be forced to go through at least the basic school, which is really tough. I mean, Marine Corps training is for officers is just gut wrenching. It's really, really tough. But in the Air Force, I think they have a much easier candidacy program. And I actually was considering going Army JAG a couple months ago, but I just have too many injuries from martial arts and stuff. I just don't, I couldn't handle it. But yeah, this guy's cool. Let's keep watching.
Get the body worn camera, see if there's anything there that a lawyer would be willing to take up. Otherwise, what's going to happen is they have the guns, they have the handcuffs, they have all the power, and there's no appealing that to a judge there on the side of the road. So, you know, even though it's wrong, I always say litigate that in the courtroom, not from the car window.
That's right.
Because you will lose.
That's right. And that's what I was trying to tell you guys about, like the Chili de Castro case. And I try to tell the Lane Myers people as well, be very, very careful. You like arguing with a judge in open court, arguing with a cop. I mean, be courteous, considerate, and kind, and you try to do try to make sure that you don't end up getting the torture cuffs thrown on you, because your wife and kids, just like the cop wants to make it home, I want you guys to make it home too. Anyways, keep on watching.
I do not have to answer any questions.
It's a lawful order.
No, it's not lawful order.
Yes, it is. It is a lawful order, me telling you to get out of the vehicle.
I am not getting out.
Continuing to spew absolutely incorrect stuff based upon if the stop is not legal, nothing after that stop is legal either.
You can open up the channel. You can get out of the vehicle, or you can go for interfering. We'll sit here and all day. All I asked was for you to get out of the vehicle.
I am not getting out of my vehicle.
I don't know what's in this vehicle. You're not telling me if there are weapons. I asked you if there are weapons. You said, I don't have to tell you.
There's no weapons in my vehicle.
You said, I don't have to tell you.
That's a lie.
Okay, cool.
No, she actually said there was no weapons earlier, and she did say she didn't have to tell you, but as a matter of course, for her own convenience, she told you there were no weapons in the vehicle. And why in the hell are you asking me that question in the first place? I thought the stop was about a ticket for a license plate that can't be seen. Yeah. When was the last time that I was stopped for speeding? Oh, probably not that long ago. But you know what? It doesn't turn into like, oh, get out of it. Like, do you have any weapons in the vehicle? Any of that kind of stuff. That's not a traffic stop. This is somebody who is trying to get something on this person. That's the whole purpose of the stop. And it's an illegal stop. So every command she gives after that is not really based upon any probable cause of any crime at all.
Well, yeah, you do. It's a lawful order.
No, it's not.
Okay, we can agree to disagree.
I'm not doing anything wrong. There is no reason for me to get out of my vehicle, and I gave you my driver's license.
I agree.
Okay, well, we can either pull you out.
Call Sergeant Simpson.
I don't need to call Sergeant Simpson.
I don't need to find out if this is really true. I'm just going with what I think is true. And when I'm challenged, I'm just going to make this a bigger deal. Now you have to get out of the car for a ticket for a bike rack.
There is no reason for me to get out of my vehicle. I have not done anything wrong.
So me asking you.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. So Ghostman's saying that Marine Corps JAG officers don't have to go through the basic school, it looks like. I got to do the research, brother. But you're right. The Department of the Navy really does run the judicial system in the Marine Corps. Anyways, let's keep going.
It was a lawful order.
No, it is not.
Yes, it is.
It is not.
It definitely is a lawful order.
Now, here, I will say this. There's a lot of discretion for the police to ask you to get out of the vehicle. So you have to really know whether you've got a reason to not get out of the vehicle, and I wouldn't advise it anyway. Again, I would get the body cam footage afterwards if I was intending to sue or make a complaint, because you don't have to sue, but you could complain to the superiors of the police department. But usually, guess where these cops learn it? The street cops learned it from their FTOs and the senior officers. Yeah. So this is something that needs to be rooted out in police training when they are in the initial stages of police training. Community relations, de-escalation. Mm-hmm. Don't come on strong. Remember, you're a public servant. What is your job? There needs to be a refocus of what exactly police are supposed to be doing.
Hey, Rami.
Okay.
There's no reason for it.
Okay, she already locked it.
The deputy threatens to take the driver to jail for interfering, for refusing to get out of his vehicle, arguing that it is a lawful order. As we have discussed many times before here on ATA, the Supreme Court held in the 1977 case of Pennsylvania versus Mims that a police officer may order the driver of a lawfully stopped car to exit their vehicle as a matter of course. Likewise, courts have held that Texas drivers who refuse a lawful order to exit a vehicle may be arrested for interference with public duties in violation of Section 38.15 of the Texas Penal Code, which states that, quote, a person commits an offense if the person with criminal negligence interrupts, disrupts, impedes, or otherwise interferes with a peace officer while the peace officer is performing a duty or exercising authority imposed or granted by law. In the 2024 case of Castro versus Corey, the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals, which has jurisdiction over Texas, held that a driver's, now quoting, repeated refusals to exit his vehicle interfered with a peace officer's duty in violation of Texas Penal Code Section 38.15. However, in reaching this conclusion, the court specifically noted that the district court had determined that the officers involved had reasonable suspicion for the initial stop and seizure of the driver, which, according to the Fifth Circuit, now quoting, confirms that the officers were exercising lawful duty as required by this statute.
Okay, so just really quick, so Ghostman, just so you guys know, I'm going to clear something up really quick. So Officers Candidate School is the basic school. Annapolis also has its own officers training program, but after Annapolis, all Marines are required to now go to the basic. Okay, now Camp Pendleton and Parris Island are where enlisted Marines go to be trained, not officers. The basic school is where they go for their officers training. Now, non-Annapolis Marines go to another school called Officers Candidate School. So that's the difference. But yeah, I just wanted to share that with you because we're talking, for the people who just joined us, this guy on here right now, he's a light colonel in the Air Force. He was former JAG. He might be reservist. And he is doing some really outstanding videos, high quality production, but he's not getting any love to his channel. So I want to help him grow his channel because I think he's really good. So hopefully you guys are liking his videos so far.
Additionally, the Fifth Circuit held in the 2007 case of Freeman versus Gore that an individual could not be arrested for a potential violation of the Texas interfering statute for disrupting an unlawful warrantless search of her home.
Well, and what do we have here? We have an unlawful seizure of this car or detaining of this person because there was no reason to stop the car in the first place. There was no specific articulable suspicion of a crime afoot, other than the ignorance of the officer that apparently needs more training. And what I think should happen is that there should be some mechanism within these police departments where periodically a superior reviews the body-worn cameras and gives them a report card. This doesn't even have to be public. This just needs to be reviewing some of your stops, officer. And, you know, here, this would be a better way to handle this stop, or here. And instead, mentor your officers to get your officers to actually combat serious crime, and for your officers to have good community relations, and for your officers to be the policemen that we always thought of when we were kids, that are there to help the public, not harass the public, and not have a showdown with an officer who will always win because they have the guns, the badges, the cars, and the jail.
The court concluded that a reasonable officer would have known that they could not lawfully search the home, and that therefore the homeowner was not, now quoting, interfering with the exercise of any authority granted to the deputies by law. Consequently, because the traffic stop itself was not lawful, the deputy could not lawfully order the driver out of the vehicle under the Mims case, and a court would therefore likely find that the driver could not lawfully be arrested for interfering, for refusing to exit the vehicle.
That's all right. We got a sergeant on the line right now.
What a joke.
See? He's en route. So you can sit here or you can comply with our orders.
There is no vehicle. There is no reason for me to get out of my vehicle.
I don't know what's in this vehicle. You were hesitant on me.
And you don't get to know what's in the vehicle just because you stopped it.
Asking if there were any weapons in the vehicle, and you said no. I don't have to tell you. So
no weapons in my vehicle. If you're not shining your flashlight in my eyes, I'm deaf.
You're deaf?
Well, that has nothing to do with a flashlight in your eyes. Anyways.
No, respect has a lot to do with flashlight in the eyes, and your demeanor toward the citizen has a lot to do with it. And maybe if you had approached this a little differently, you wouldn't be in the situation now where you're just wrong.
I'm going to run her.
It's a very common thing across the country as well. It's not even just our community here.
What a joke.
Hands on the hood.
For what?
You don't need this guy poke from me? Pat you down for officer safety. Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Hands on the hood.
That's not a pat down. That is pull my bra.
It is definitely a pat down. We can argue all you want. I don't know.
No, it's not a pat down. If you're getting that specific look, are you thinking that you're going to find a gun or a knife by doing this? Because you're supposed to be patting down, remember, for officer safety.
You're right,
you said it.
Carol.
So does anything there feel like a weapon? If not, that's not officer safety. That's a search.
why you were being so defensive.
You are not patting me down. You are feeling up under my bra.
Is that I'm allowed to?
The deputy claims that she is allowed to feel under the driver's bra as part of the pat down, and the driver protests. During a Terry or traffic stop, law enforcement officers are generally allowed to perform a limited pat down search of a person for weapons if they have reasonable suspicion that the person may be armed and dangerous. As the Supreme Court explained in the 1993 case of Minnesota versus Dickerson, quote, the purpose of this limited search is not to discover evidence of crime, but to allow the officer to pursue his investigation without fear of violence. A protective search must be strictly limited to that which is necessary for the discovery of weapons, which might be used to harm the officer or others nearby. If the protective search goes beyond what is necessary to determine if the suspect is armed, it is no longer valid under Terry, and its fruits will be suppressed. Accordingly, even assuming that the officer had reasonable suspicion for the initial traffic stop, which she did not, and that she had a reasonable belief that the driver was armed, which is questionable, a court would likely conclude that the scope of the pat-down exceeded the permissible scope of a Terry stop and frisk. While an officer conducting a lawful pat-down may pat the exterior of clothing near the bra, a court would likely find that the deputy's decision to feel under the bra in this case was more invasive than permitted by Terry, as the level of intrusion appeared to be aimed more at discovering evidence of a crime rather.
And look, I think that the Terry decision was wrongly decided as well. It just gives officers way too much power. They already have way too much power now with their police unions. We saw what happened with this Captain Byrd who shot Ashley Babbitt. We covered that earlier today. We saw what happened with Officer Krueger, Matthew Krueger in Fort Worth, and before that, Irving. Same kind of crap. Their unions have so much, they have way too much power, guys. Give me a bunch of ones if you think they should abolish police unions. That would be the best start. This whole Terry versus Ohio was a direct result of the police having far too much lobbying power, far too much political power to get laws passed that take away your rights and freedoms and give them to the police unions, which is totally wrong to me. I don't think there should be any government unions. Give me a bunch of ones if you agree with that. They already have the government is the most powerful union on the planet. Why do they need a union? Why? Because it launders money into political campaigns. That's why. Give me a bunch of ones if you understand that concept.
Rather than searching for weapons.
Well, wasn't that the beginning? The whole thing from the beginning was to search for a crime. It wasn't about the bikes.
Actually, since the deputy had no specific reason to believe that a weapon was concealed in that area.
No, you're not.
Thanks,
Okay.
Black Man.
Where are you coming from today? Not your answer? Okay. Anything in the car that you're not supposed to have?
No.
Okay. Do you mind if I search the vehicle?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Okay. Stay right there.
Now we're going to have to find a reason. Now she doesn't allow me to search. That was the whole reason for the stop in the first place.
That's right.
What are we going to do now?
Get the
Can
police
you make
dog.
note that the occupant got out of the vehicle? And do we have any canine narcotics available? Huh?
Canine narcotics.
So
What?
this is called extending the stop. And this is terrifying to me because dogs are trained to trigger on money because money has drug residue on it. So you tell me, you think this dog's going to trigger if she's even got a dollar bill in her car? I think the dog will trigger. That's what this is all about, guys. This is very, very scary to me. Unbelievable. Go ahead, Colonel. Sorry to cut you off, sir.
Why is she even still there for you to bring a canine to this location? And what do you have to suggest that there's anything to do with drugs here? And you can run a canine around a car and it's not a search or anything, but holding a person illegally to run a canine around the car to search for drugs when the purpose of the stop was just for bikes and there's no evidence of any crime. Wrong.
Wasn't even a valid stop.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna wonder if that's enough for me to. Technically, she was interfering.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, can we think of a crime here? Then we can arrest her. Then we can search.
I'm gonna call the DA. Did you call the DA before you? Yeah.
Well, my guy had physically had to remove my phone.
All right, I'm gonna call the DA.
Maybe you should have called the DA in the beginning if there was some question.
Hello, this is Officer Norton with Montgomery County Constable's Precinct 5. I got a question for you. So, out on a traffic stop, for obscured license plate. She has like bikes covering her license plate. I can't see the license plate. When I told her that I wasn't able to see the rear license plate, she argued with me and says that it's not obscured. I asked her multiple times to get out of the vehicle. Because when I asked, when I asked if there were any weapons in the vehicle, she said that she didn't have to tell me. And finally, after asking her multiple times, she said, no, there's no weapons in the vehicle. I then asked her, okay, well, do you mind stepping out? That way I know, for my safety, your safety, everything's okay. And then she refused to get out of the vehicle when I asked her multiple times. It took 4 other officers to ask her verbally. We didn't have to physically remove her. As I'm patting her down.
No, we had to intimidate her with 4 officers, so she knew she had no choice.
She stuffed anything anywhere in her bra. She said that I was not doing a pat down, that I was illegally searching her.
Well, you were, right? If she stuffed anything in her bra, wouldn't that be evidence of a crime, not a part of a protective pat down?
So I was going to see if that's enough for interference.
Give me a second, we'll look at something.
Okay.
Okay, here's where you're at. I'm with you. Technically, yes, you have the violation if you want to file it. However, there are some problems that will make you look terribly bad if you have to defend this case in court. The first one is the statute that I wanted to look at is that bicycles and motorcycle racks attached to a vehicle in normal and customary manner cannot be used as a basis for obstructing a license.
There you go.
It's actually spelled out.
Yes, man.
That's problem number 1.
Yeah, problem number 1 is you don't even know the statute that you're threatening this woman about.
Yep.
Problem number 2 actually is a valid point about the search in saying that you patting her bra is not a pat down, it's a search. So the long and the short of it is, I would not do it, but if y'all really want to fight off that fight, yes, we'll file it.
And that is a problem with prosecutors right there, right? So
bingo, that is a huge problem. Basically, you've got this scumbag prosecutor telling her what the law is, telling her she's got no authority to do it, but saying, yeah, we'll go ahead and file it if you go ahead and make the charge. Now, when I was with the prosecutor's office, we had good filing deputies. They would have thrown that thing out in a heartbeat. They would have never filed on a case like this in a million years. So that's another lesson to be learned, guys, is not all prosecutors are scumbags. My supervisor, who became a lifelong mentor of mine, told me that your job as a prosecutor is to do justice, not to get convictions. And I always took that to heart. What an amazing guy. Now, Group 2FA app says, please take a look at the Constitution States videos of Officer Giller. The guy is a psycho. I will, brother. I'm going to be meeting with Life Under a little bit later, and we'll talk about that. He's been real good at helping me gather stuff as well. So, by the way, I appreciate y'all supporting the channel. Kevin Brionarski, good seeing you, brother. Your whole company's watching you. Right on, man. And Tiffany Dagley, I'm glad you're here. 5150, she says. Selwyn Din, super, super glad to see you. So everybody just who's joining me now, this guy we're watching is a former, or he might be a reservist, Air Force Lieutenant Colonel. And I just really like his videos, and I'm going to try to get him on as a guest. I want you guys to all support his channel. I dropped his link a second ago into the sidebar, but I'll drop it again in a minute. Really, I think he's just got good stuff. I like his production quality. I wish I could do videos as good as him. Oh, hey, what's up, BZ? I'm BZ as well. Amazing investigator, amazing journalist. All you guys are just amazing. Let's keep going.
He's telling her that it's not a good idea, but if she wants to go ahead and continue to violate this, they're going to stand behind her. And that, I think, also is a miscarriage of justice, that the prosecutor, instead of saying, don't do it, the prosecutor says, but if you guys want to do it and fight it out, because maybe they'll just give up. Maybe they won't get a lawyer. Maybe they'll just succumb to all of your government power. So we'll back you up on that.
No, I mean, I'm going to go with obviously what you say, because I'm calling you to get your opinion on it. I was under the impression that if we weren't able to see a plate in the back at all, then it was obscured.
Bullshit stuff.
Well, I read you the exact language, and so you can see how you think it applies to your exact facts, because you're looking at your situation live. I'm not.
Yeah, no, I got you. Yeah, I mean, I physically can't see the plate, so like I legit had to go under the bikes as I'm pulling over the vehicle to see the plate. So
I'm giving you my business, so yeah, whichever way
Thanks,
you want to go.
Greg.
okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, Greg, you know me being a Marine and stuff, I always want to achieve excellence, but Greg says that my video production is just fine. But I appreciate that. I know it's more about substance than form, but when I see this light colonel come on looking all squared away with his suit and with a squared away office, and he's got the flag holder back there and looks like he's got a Black Hawk, I'm just kind of jealous, I guess. Let's keep going.
That's there. You can disregard.
Were you wanting to speak with the sergeant? Or?
You have any questions? All right. Well, the sergeant's right here if you want to speak to him. If not, you're more than welcome to go on about your day.
I'm sorry. I was wrong. Sorry for the inconvenience. No, just I got told. So now I'm just going to let you go. No respect given because I don't have to. I get to make up the rules. This is the problem why there's such poor relationships with police departments.
That's right.
And this is handed down from one generation to another,
Terrible.
to another, to another. And really what they should be doing is they should be having maybe some training on the statutes that they enforce most frequently and maybe some of the common pitfalls or misperceptions about the statutes that have got them in trouble before, or maybe there aren't anybody that got them in trouble before because they've just bullied them into submission.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions for me, for him? No? Okay.
After talking to the DA, the deputy allowed the driver to leave without further incident.
Scumbag.
Very little information is available about this encounter, and it's unknown if the driver filed a complaint or intends to pursue legal action. While the Supreme Court has upheld the constitutionality of traffic stops based on so-called reasonable mistakes of law, in this instance, the statute explicitly stated that it did not apply to bike racks, showing that the deputy was simply ignorant of the provisions of the statute that she was attempting to enforce. When the driver attempted to correct her understanding of the law, the deputy responded in a condescending and defiant manner, despite repeatedly being incorrect in her assertions. And while the deputy at least did not attempt to pursue interfering charges against the driver, she also did not apologize for or even appear remotely remorseful about unlawfully detaining her, searching her, and threatening her with arrest.
Just another day in the business, right? This is commonplace. We do this all the time. Well, I wanted to point this out because I think that police can do a much better job with the community relations, and everybody they stop is not a bad guy.
Yeah.
And every stop is not a basis for the police to do a search.
Yep.
And it's pretty clear that in these stops, this stop, it had nothing to do with the license plate. This was all about a search, and it often is the case. And then just the condescending, disrespectful nature, and then being wrong on top of it and not having the fortitude to apologize. Look, when you're wrong, you're wrong.
You're wrong.
You're going to get a lot more respect from people when you say, you know, I'm sorry, I was wrong about that, but you know what? I know now. Have a nice day. I'm sorry.
Yep. That absolutely, guys. And that's something, you know, that is so true. Like when I first heard that Lane Myers was recording in court, I was like, there's no way that could be true. How could he be, how was he able to do that without court permission? But somebody told me about this. I think it's Rule 122H, and I couldn't find it. So I had my law clerk trying to find it. He couldn't find it. And then finally, one of you guys, I think it was Ghost Man, or one of you guys popped up and showed it to me, or maybe it was Copser 5150. One of you guys. I was like, holy crap. Well, I stand corrected. You're right. All Lane had to do was give notice to do private audio recording in his court. So I didn't sit there and try to argue, oh, no, he can't do this. No. That integrity is so important, especially if you want to get credibility. And what he said is so true. And the cops should be doing the same thing, guys. You've always got to understand, just because you're a lawyer, just because you're a cop, you got a badge, that doesn't make you better than anyone else. If anything, it makes you subject to more scrutiny. And therefore, you should even be more humble, more courteous, and more considerate and more kind, because you are in an elevated position of perceived authority, right? So why would you want to come off like an a-hole just because you may like outrank someone? If anything, you know, in the military, the word sergeant, it comes from the French word servant. A sergeant is a servant of the junior grade enlisted men below him. And that's, for me as a lawyer, that's how I always look at you guys, is I look at it as though I'm a servant. I'm providing a service. Yeah, I'm an officer of the court, but I'm here to help you guys, not here to try to throw my weight around and prove that I'm smarter than you. And police should also have that same mentality. Give me a bunch of ones if you guys agree. I think that's a huge mistake with a lot of lawyers too. They come off like total belligerent punks. They think they know everything because they went to some law school, which I don't even think is a big deal to begin with. And it's no wonder that people hate lawyers, guys. Give me a freaking break. So give me a bunch of ones also for, this is Lee Wolfgram, Colonel Lee Wolfgram's channel. And let me see if I can pull up the actual link to his channel too. I'm going to drop this for you guys. I really like his channel. I know he's probably more of a traditional lawyer than me. As you guys know, I'm kind of a man of the people. I'm the lawyer who wears the blue jeans and takes you to the gym with me and stuff. But I really like him. He's an officer after all. So I'm an enlisted man. So that makes a lot of sense. But I really like the guy. And I really, really want you guys to support his channel. I've never even met him, but I just think that he has a really great channel with a lot of good stuff on it. And you can see there he is in his uniform. He's got some wings on him. Looks like he's jump qualified, I think. I mean, I don't know about Air Force. He's got a bronze. I don't know if he's got a V on there, because you guys know they give out bronze stars to officers like candy. But if he's got a V on there, that's legit. But, we'll find out more about him. Either way, the fact that he was a JAG officer tells me that he's a man of integrity. I mean, military guys, to me, they just have they're cut from a different fabric. And I really like military people a lot. Let's keep going.
Everyone, welcome back to the Colonel channel. I am your self-proclaimed commander, Lieutenant Colonel Lee Roger Wolfgram. And I am coming to you with another one of those don't be a dumbass moments. I hope you watched the last video where I demonstrated my ability to do a dumbass moment. And that is when I encountered a cobra snake in the jungle in Thailand. If you haven't seen that one, that's my moment. That's me being a dumbass. In this video, we have someone who thinks because of the position of their parents, somehow that grants them some extra treatment or special treatment or unlawful treatment. But it's something I'm not going to judge the dumbass moments. I'm going to bring it to you. I'll make some comments along the way. You decide the dumbass moments here. And this, again, is another instance of people do not need to go to jail. And you can say it's a cop-out to cooperate with the police, but at the end of these videos I show you, it's always a case where someone goes to jail that absolutely...
Well, hold on a minute, because this is a case that I definitely want to talk about this really quick. So Ghostman says, how are the JAG for Eddie Gallagher? The JAG in Eddie Gallagher's case were a disgrace, and they should all have been thrown in the brig, in my opinion. That was a case where the U.S. government, I think it was Obama, illegally spied on Eddie Gallagher, tried to put a virus in his computer. This is a Navy SEAL, Chief Gallagher, who I also support. And ultimately, it was the Marines on that jury that found him not guilty. He was ultimately found guilty of one charge, taking a photograph with other Navy SEALs and I think a Marine in front of a dead corpse, a Taliban or one of these terrorist guys who have been taking out a lot of his team and causing a lot of problems. And, look, it happened, but they tried to charge him with all kinds of stuff that would have put him in jail for years. He was locked up, unable to defend himself. So you're right, Ghost Man. There's always an exception to every rule, but most of the JAG guys that I've met are pretty legit. Unfortunately, when you have shit leadership, like a scumbag president like Barack Hussein Obama, the crap's going to roll downhill, and you're going to get that in your leadership as well. With the DEI initiatives and trying to push all this garbage into our military like him and Sleepy Joe have done. It's a disgrace. It makes me sad, but it happened. But yeah, I'm all about Eddie Gallagher, Ghost Man. I really love Chief Gallagher. Good guy, legit dude. Let's go.
Absolutely didn't need to go to jail. And if it was just so they could be resistant, is that the goal? I would highly advise against it. It does you no good. It's all on camera. Anyway, here we go.
Seriously,
Okay.
I just want to go home.
Nope, you're not gonna go home. Oh, now you're definitely not going home.
Let go.
Nope, turn around.
Guys.
Turn around. Turn around. You'll get another charge. You'll get another charge. No, you're not. Don't do it. Don't do this.
I didn't do anything.
All right, turn around.
Ghost man always holding me
You're gonna
accountable.
get charged of obstruction in about a second.
I didn't do anything.
All right, turn around. Put your hand by your back. You're gonna get another charge.
I didn't do anything.
Don't do this. I'm telling you.
I know you guys are.
Are you gonna keep going? Stop playing games.
Okay, so here's my advice with regard to if you're ever in this position. Look, the police are warning you. They're telling you what they're going to do. Whether they're right or wrong about what they're going to do, it's what they're going to do. So pay attention. Again, your lawyer, if this ends up to be a situation where it goes the wrong way like this, your lawyer is always going to be able to get all the body-worn cameras from all of those officers there. So if there is an issue that is unconstitutional or you were not treated fairly, your lawyer will take care of that. Don't have these encounters with the police in the field. They only end up putting people in jail. The police aren't going to back off on this stuff, and I think we all know that.
My Uber's right there.
Well, you're not going with your Uber now.
What the is wrong with you people?
Hey, there's nothing in there.
Oh no, guys.
I'm related to a judge. I can do what I want. F you, potty mouth, all tatted out. I mean, come on, guys. What the hell is going on here? Unbelievable.
What word? She threw it out right there.
I need sugar.
You're not going home now.
I'm eating.
Okay, so here's the issue. The issue was not supposed to have alcohol outside the bar. She was seen walking around with a glass of red liquid, and she's saying it was just a normal drink for sugar, but she threw it out. So the cops now, when they asked her to come to them, she threw out the cup. So that's kind of how this started.
Some video. We're 201. We're 15 over. Come here. Listen, dude. Turn around. Face to face.
I'm just going to stop here. So these aren't, I don't collate this public data. Real Body Cameras actually collates this public data. They organize this public data, and I use their public data. But if you want to see without my commentary, I encourage you to subscribe to Real Body Cams. And they put out a lot of videos that I don't comment on. It's only when I'm trying to make a point about one of these dumbass things so that people just hopefully remember this stuff when they're maybe have been drinking too much, maybe not making the best decisions. I'm trying to give you the cues or the clues for how to manage your behavior so that I can look at the videotape afterwards and tell you whether or not there was something wrong with what the police did rather than you making it worse by giving the police all this body camera footage.
I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything. No, I'm just trying to go home.
You're not going home.
My Uber's right there. I didn't do. What did I do?
Yeah, like me, let's say TVO.
Chill out.
I didn't do
Chill out.
You don't want to arrest a judge's daughter. I need to go home.
Judge's
Oh,
daughter.
don't want to arrest a judge's daughter. This is what I'm talking about. This stuff just pisses cops off, and it should piss.
So look, I'm no fan of like the no drinking in public laws and all that stuff. I'm no fan of men roughhousing a woman, but I'm definitely no fan of public servants getting a pass. And that's why I wanted to show this video. You've got this daughter of a judge. Clearly, she thinks that she can do whatever she wants because she's the daughter of a judge. And that's why I wanted to show this to you. So don't think that I'm in any way condoning an arrest like this, because I think people should be allowed to drink in public. I don't see what the problem is. The problem is when you do have a law that's supposedly supposed to apply to everyone, and then you have a public servant come out and say, "Oh, I don't have to comply." It reminds me of like the old Soviet Union, right? Like the old Soviet socialist republics, where if you're a member of the party, a loyal party member, they'll just send the secret police over to the guy's house that made the accusations. And all of a sudden that the guy who made the accusations disappears to a gulag, and the public servant, the person who's supposed to be a servant of the people, gets off along with their family. So let's keep watching.
It's off everybody, because if you're judge, if your mother's not a judge, then I guess you should be treated differently. Is that the implication here? So right away, I have objection with this sort of position she's taking, and I'm sure the police do as well.
Who you are?
You don't care. I didn't do anything.
Stop. You need to relax. You need to relax. Listen to me. If you keep going, you're going to get pepper sprayed. That's what you want?
That's right. I didn't do anything. You're making this. I didn't do anything.
All right. Can we search you? Can we? No. We didn't.
Yeah, search me. Search me, motherfucker. I didn't do anything.
Listen, you're just making it worse for yourself.
I didn't do anything.
Yes, you did. Stop.
No, what did I do? What did you go ahead and tell me?
Ordinance violation.
What did I do?
Stop.
I didn't do anything. Next, I didn't do anything.
I hear you. Stop moving. Right. Stop moving. Are you kicking me?
I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything.
Let go of my leg.
Yeah, you really.
All right, now you can.
You're really adorable. Good. Press.
We'll add another charge.
I didn't do anything. I was trying to go home. Stop.
You're making it so much
I'm
worse.
trying to go home. You're not going to home. I'm stopping to get my Uber.
Hey, you got a felony, all right?
I'm just trying to get my Uber.
Okay, when they're talking about you got a felony, so that contact with the police officer, depending on the state, it's either going to go from misdemeanor resistance with force all the way up to a felony if you start to kick or injure or spit. Those things end up in felony charges.
Yeah.
Keep going. Make it a bad
I'm trying to get my Uber. Keep spraying.
All right, we're going to try to search.
But again, all these laws are pretextual, they give the police a pretext to get more charges. So you can't drink in public. Well, you know, if someone's drinking in public, there's a high probability they're going to be belligerent, right? If you try to arrest them. And in this case, if you're related to a public servant like a judge, like this girl here, a woman of privilege, she's going to start throwing names and resisting because she thinks that she's special, right? So now they know that a drunk person's going to get crazy, right? And the way they're so belligerent and the way they talk down to people as well, it's going to result in more charges for them. What does that mean? More money for the municipal corporation. And that's what this is all about, in my opinion. Just about raising revenue. They're revenuers, and these laws make it easier for them to raise revenue. Give me a bunch of ones if you agree. Give me a bunch of twos if you don't agree. I want to hear both sides. Let's go.
You again.
I don't care.
All right, you got yourself on.
I just want to go home.
Just search your back pocket. All right, this pocket's good. Anything in your back pocket? No. She's good on that side.
I just want to go home.
She's going home, all right. Gee whiz.
You know I didn't do anything. You're gonna pay. Bet you're younger than me. Let's go! I want to go home! Let's go! I didn't do anything! I need to get bailed out! Let's go!
Hey, if you keep...
I need to go home!
You're not going home.
I am! I'm gonna get bailed out as soon as you bring me there. Let's go! Let's go!
Window, you're going to get...
Bring me to
right?
You guys are doing nothing. Let's go! You know I did nothing! What the cop are you? And everybody else here is drunk too. You guys just picked me? I'm the unlucky one? I appreciate that. You can hear me. I know you can. Let's go! I don't care what the you do.
All right. So what she's doing right now, guys, and this is the big problem here, is although I disagree, I don't think she should have been arrested. Me personally, I think that the law itself is ridiculous. I mean, it's a bar, for crying out. You're going to be drinking, not being able to take your alcohol cup outside. To me is ridiculous. But now that she's in a custodial arrest here, allegedly she's kicking the police. I'm advising all of you guys, be courteous, considerate, and kind, because all you're doing you're going to end yourselves up in prison. Now, keep an eye out. Let's see if they drive off and don't seatbelt her in, because this is another trick that they like to do with people who they don't like. They won't seatbelt them, and then they'll drive aggressively so they can throw them all around the back of the car. I haven't seen this whole thing yet, but I would imagine they're not going to seatbelt her in. Let's take a look.
Listen, hit my car one more time.
Take me to the police station so I can be myself out. Let's go. I did nothing.
Well, maybe you didn't do anything, but now you are.
Yeah.
Oh, put it down all the way. Put it down.
Let's go.
Kick it again. Oh. Here, hold this. Open it.
What are you, prayer?
You kicked me now. Now you're gonna catch another charge. That's two bad Leos. You understand that? I don't care who you are. You don't kick a cop.
Going to regret it.
That's another bad Leo. She just kicked
did
me.
nothing. You're all on camera. I did nothing. I was just walking and you guys grabbed me.
And that might be true.
So I guess that's the really a dumbass thing, is that you know that this is all being recorded and yet you continue this behavior anywhere. Where is your awareness to what is the next day?
No.
Take me out.
Stay in the car.
Nick.
Okay.
Hold it here.
You're in the car.
She got sprayed.
They pepper sprayed her, right? Well, that was nice of them.
Okay, at this point, what's your opinion? You think that's a good idea? I advise against it.
Man, she needs help. They're gonna hard tire now. Still not seatbelted in.
You don't understand.
Well, at least their seatbelt are in. You're right, let's go TV.
I'm gonna die. Please help. Seriously.
Well, give me a bunch of ones for the judge's daughter, at least providing us with some great entertainment prior to our Christmas holiday. Bunch of ones for the judge's daughter, guys.
Please, somebody please help. Please just talk to me. Please. Guys, please, I'm really sick. Please, ma'am, please. I have lupus, please. Ma'am, what's going on? Are you okay? You need rescue? Yes. Please. I can't breathe well, and you guys spray me. I can't breathe at all. Please, call emergency.
Okay. If you're raising that much hell, if you can't breathe, you couldn't be yelling at the police, right? You should be saving your oxygen
That
for
right
survival here. But she clearly can breathe.
Right there. So, okay, let's OTVO. What he's saying, he says, I judge her fathering. Hey, look, guys, I'm a big time proponent of homeschooling. Don't let someone else rear your children, and don't fall in love with a career that separates you from your kids. I'm not saying that that's what happened here, but I have a pretty good gumption about what's going on. I really do. You let the administrative state raise your children, and you focus on some big career so you can improve your standing in the community. Watch what happens to your kids. I would rather take millions of dollars less money over my lifetime to make sure that I can be a good father to my son and my daughter. And give me a bunch of ones if you guys feel the same way. Let's keep on watching. I think Let's OTVO is onto something.
Because she's taking breaths before she is going after the cops each time. She's got plenty of energy to kick stuff. I don't want to die. You know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of when my children were young and they would throw a tantrum. This looks very much like a childish tantrum.
Well, she does have pepper spray in her eyes.
You have rescue coming for you.
In her defense, she's got pepper spray in her eyes, and they haven't offered her water to get the pepper spray out. So, I am going to be a little bit sympathetic with respect to that. I mean, if any of y'all have been in the military and been in the gas chamber, that stuff hurts, man. And this is pepper spray, which hurts even more. So keep that in mind. They should have at least taken some water and poured it in her eyes. To me, this is kind of cruel and unusual punishment. Look, I'm not saying that I approve of her conduct at all, but still, a reasonable officer would have at least tried to pour some water in her eyes to get that pepper spray out. That's all I'm saying. Give me a bunch of ones if you think the cops should be putting some water in her eyes. Give me a bunch of twos if you think that she should stay there with that chemical in her eyes.
Open the f***ing door! Just open the door, please! I can't breathe! Just open the f***ing door, please!
He's unseatbelted again.
Nicole, I'm gonna have a conversation with you right now. Rescue is gonna check you out. Listen to me. Do not kick. I won't. I just need to do anything. I can't breathe. Please. Further in trouble. Please, it hurts. Please,
That's right, Chris.
Please. They are here to take care of you, but you need to keep it together. Please.
Hey, relax.
I can't breathe.
All right, relax.
No, I'm not okay. I'm not okay. No. You guys don't understand. I'm really not okay. I'm not.
Listen, hey, this is the fire department here, okay?
Okay, go back in.
Please, just let the door go. Please, no, I can breathe better. Please, don't sit down. Please, stop, please.
What is she doing?
Just go for a few
Please.
Hey, come here. Trying to help you out. If you keep screaming,
That's
you're
right,
just gonna go to
girlfriend.
jail.
I can't breathe.
I'm telling you, you're breathing right now because you're talking. You're mad you're going to jail right now. So
It hurts, please.
I know it hurts. That's what pepper spray does. That's normal.
No, it hurt before. It just made it worse.
Okay.
I have lupus, please.
That's right,
I
damn
understand.
little
I
cat.
hear you. Regardless,
Please just help me, please.
there's nothing I can do to help you. You're breathing right now. It is what it is.
Please.
Dan Lofat brings up a universal statement. The worst thing that you can say to someone who's in that state that she's in mentally is relax. I don't know about you husbands or, guys with a long-term girlfriend, but when your woman's having a tantrum and you tell her to relax, you best be ducking for cover. So I'm with you, Dan Lofat. Hey, good seeing you here too, brother. I think it's the first time I've seen you on my channel. With comments like that, I'd like to see you around some more. It's a great comment.
Please just take me, please. I need an anti-inflammatory. I need Toradol,
At
please.
this point, it's up to you guys.
That's right, Black
Appropriately
man.
to
Walk
me.
away.
Toradol, please.
Clearly a man who's been around women.
Just let the ambulance take me, You guys can get cops for what? A fucking power trip? What the you guys do? You guys help anybody? Are you guys helping anybody? I just want to go home. Go solve a real crime. Yeah, you can hear me, you dumb I know you can. Let's go! Nicole! I want to go home! Home. You are going to jail. Good, and I'll get bailed out. Take me. Fine, whatever. Take me! Calm down, and you need to stop. No, take me now. I want to get out. Can you please tell me what I did?
I told you to give me the alcoholic beverage you had.
It was just a cranberry. I have lupus. I need sugar.
And you denied it. And when I tried to grab it, you threw it on the ground.
Because I need it. It's sugar. I need
Throw it on the ground.
I need it.
And then when we're taking you into custody, you decided to kick my officer. And then you kicked my window. When I put the window down, you kicked me.
I need
Open
that.
the door. You kicked me again.
You guys can't take something that I need from my.
Now, she may be a diabetic, and she obviously has mental problems, and it's entertaining and all that, but I do feel bad for her. And I don't think that there was a lawful basis to make an arrest. They can't even prove that what she spilled on the ground was an alcoholic beverage at this point. Probably the only thing they could prove is maybe littering in public. But even then, this is one of those cases that could be a real wobbler. Yeah, like Life Under says, just add alcohol. Right.
It's just cranberry. I need sugar. I'm just a criminal. Because I was drinking cranberry juice on the sidewalk. Oh my God, I'm a criminal. Yes, I was drunk. Yes, I was drinking cranberry juice. No, I have a thing with touch. Don't touch me. Girl, get your hand out. Don't touch me. Just tell me what to do and I'll do it. Let's go. Okay. Just speak to me. Speak to me. Don't touch me, please. Don't touch me. Just speak to me. Come on. Just speak to me. Don't do it. Okay.
The suspect was charged with 2 counts of resisting an officer with violence and issued a citation for open container. She was later released after posting her $10,000 and $250 bond. At this time, the suspect's pre-trial has yet to take place.
Okay, thanks, Real Body Cameras, for that. I hope you've been looking at some of the other videos because you'll see there's a big variety from military topics to aviation topics to the legal topics like these. There's a pretty extensive selection there for you to take a look at on the channel. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. And here, I've been working on simulators. I've been, I've as a military pilot, I've been in many simulators throughout my career, full motion simulators, full mock-up simulators, all kinds of different simulators. But I made my own simulator, and it is the best simulator I have ever flown in terms of immersiveness.
That's cool.
And so here's a little preview from that in the simulator, and then the next episode, we'll jump into the simulator and show you how that works. Until the next time, this is Wolf 6 out from the command post.
Love this guy's channel. And look, I could be wrong about him being a JAG. Maybe he's a real combat pilot, but I thought he was a JAG. Maybe he went JAG later. Typically, if you're JAG, you have like a different emblem on there. But either way, I really like his channel. I'd like it if you guys would all go and support him, even though I don't even know the guy, because I just think that he's got really great material. Guys, I'm going to call it a day. Make sure to like and subscribe. Make sure to save, because you never know when the thought police are going to take down the channel. Thanks for showing up, Black Man, Life Under the Microscope, Brandy, Jody Shiloh, Joseph Doe, James, all my buddies, Chris Hughes. You guys are all awesome. I hope you enjoyed your Sunday with me. It was always an honor and a pleasure to hang out with you all. And hopefully I'll see you for some more cool videos throughout the week. Again, guys, if anybody wants to help me support my channel, pick up a copy of my ebook for $19.99 about how I became my journey to becoming a practicing lawyer with no law degree or undergrad on my main YouTube channel, or throw me a super chat or a super sticker, whatever, for a holiday tithe, or buy some memberships for my fellow members to help support the channel. With that being said, guys, I hope you do have a great rest of your Sunday. God bless you. Semper Fi, do or die.